Okay. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being patient, and thank you for being flexible with me tonight. I know that I wasn't able to stream right after the game ended, which was a fantastic game for the Bulls. So, just thank you for being patient with me about this and giving me some flexibility here. I appreciate y'all just being here. I see that we have people chatting already. I was just like, oh my god, we have people here right now. So, thank you so much for just being patient, and thank you for being here. Even though it's an hour after the game. So, just if you didn't read the community post, so tonight, I Thursday nights I'm just with my guys with Thursday Night Football. So, I did want to just continue being with them. But I did want to talk tonight. I did want to talk to you guys tonight, even if it was an L tonight. I think it was important to go ahead and talk tonight because there's a lot that we have to talk about because there's been a lot of recent news for the Bulls. So, we're here now, and we're gonna kind of just jump into things. We're gonna first start off with the recap of the game, kind of go over thoughts of the game. I'm sure we all have a lot of thoughts on this one because this is honestly the most unlikely win in my opinion. If you did not notice, the line coming into tonight for this game, the Bulls were -14, or they were 14.5 underdogs coming into tonight. That's why I'm like, there's no way the Bulls win this one, but they won it, so of course. After though we talk about this game tonight, we're gonna jump into the Zach LaVine trade rumors, and we really are gonna have to break down a couple of things because there's a lot of misinformation out there, and it's not like I'm not trying to say anyone's being bad or anything or have bad intentions, but there's just a lot of people trying to figure out the information when it comes to Zach LaVine's trade kicker, and I want to break that down and how that affects both teams because. For some reason, a lot of people think that the Bulls would go into the luxury tax if the trade kicker does get implemented. I just want to make that clear right now. The Bulls will not be going into the luxury tax if there is a trade kicker. I don't know why that suddenly is a thing now for Bulls fans. It's like, oh my god, we can't trade Zach because we'll go into the luxury tax. That's not true. So I'm gonna go into like a full in-depth breakdown on the trade kicker when it comes to Zach in this stream. And we'll talk about the potential trade package that it would be for LaVine to the Nuggets. But first things first, though, is that we got to talk about Zach LaVine still on the Bulls. And this was one hell of a game tonight. I got to watch it all. I got to record it all. So I have it all here. So don't worry. I do want to. Well, we might go over some film, but I don't want to go over too much tonight because. We are starting a little bit later than usual. So, yeah. Thank you again for all being here. If you have not already hit the like button, please do. It helps me out a lot. Thank you all for just being here right now. This is honestly really, really cool. So, thank you guys a lot. All right. We'll start off with what's going on in chat. Great game. The one king comment is, didn't think was on point was the Zach bounce pass that Vooch I thought was good enough, and Vooch got to corral that. Which one are we talking about? So there was the good bounce pass at the end of the game, but I'm gonna guess that you are talking about the one in the fast break, where there was a turnover. I think it was honestly, I think overall it's a bad pass by Zach because it's too low. But I think that also I don't know if Vooch just was in a weird spot, and it kind of looked like they just were off sync. So at the end, that's on Zach. I think that is the one thing that probably was the one blemish in Zach's game tonight was that bad pass. But yeah. Well, game I had a feeling Zach's gonna show out. I don't know why. I think we might know why, honestly, because the trade rumors are very much happening right now when it comes to LaVine. So maybe that's the reason why he showed out tonight. Maybe people will be relegated to standstill shooter, but hey, it might open up other parts of his game. I think that's honestly what people is just destined to be. So we'll see if that continues. Sorry, hold on. Sorry about that. I hate that notification, but sorry. 5-13, but did hit a couple timely threes. The people, yeah. I think Patrick honestly played a really good game today, and I do appreciate that he was willing to take the open threes. He took a lot of threes late in the shot clock and bailed the Bulls out of a few possessions, and so yeah, I do appreciate that. Pat's willing to shoot the threes, and he's come back, and you know, I still expect with the rust, you know, it is what it is with Pat, but. Yeah, I do like that he's shooting the threes right now. Continue shooting them, please. I didn't get the Bulls commentaries on my broadcast. Was Stacey still calling Julian Justin? It happened early in the game. So Julian Phillips was not in the game, but Stacey King did call Julian Phillips Justin. And it just, I tweeted it out. I was just like, you've got to be kidding me, bro. Like, this is insane. You can't have this happen, bro. And you know, it's just after we just talked about in the last stream where Stacy called Julian Justin many times, and it was just like, bro, this is insane. And so early in the first quarter, we hear that Stacey King calls Julian Phillips Justin. I was just like, bro. He didn't even say Justin Phillips. He just said Justin. And we're just like, okay. Yeah, it was honestly just a very bad thing overall. Yeah, I did, again, yeah, the community post is that I was streaming after Thursday night football. So again, thank you guys for all just being here. As I played a green card, that pass was bad. He knew it. Vooch is a king of Butterfingers, but pass below his knees is a good pass. Yeah, I honestly think it was mostly just a bad pass because it was low. I do wonder though if like Vooch took like a weird route. Like it's hard to see from our angle to see if maybe Vooch like did like a weird angle or maybe just didn't cut when Zach thought he would. But yeah, I do think that I think it was a bad pass. Vooch did, you know, like Viper Strike said, like like Rob said, like Vooch raised his hand, but I think it's just a bad pass by Zach. I'm not too, again, I can live with those turnovers, by the way. Like that's not like the worst thing in the world. It sucks, obviously, but I can live with it. If you're actually playing fast and we're, you know, getting those opportunities and some of them end up being turnovers, I can live with it. It's just the ones that where it's like the bad turnovers are the ones where you lose the ball when you really shouldn't. There's no ball pressure and you just happen to lose it. Bad decision on passes, right? Those frustrate me. But if you have turnovers because you're playing faster and you have the right intention to get a layup out of a fast break and you just turn it over, I can live with it. Just you still got to work on execution at the end of the day. Fairness in between them, he throws over the top. It's probably too far because Vooch has no vert. The put aside everything else, but pass below the knees and center is just not good. Best. Yeah, I'm with Viper Struck on this one. It was too low of a pass. I think honestly, I think if Zach just does his typical. Zach's been doing like the really good shovel pass, like the underhand shovel pass to Vooch this year. If he just does that, I think it's an easy bucket for Vooch. No bounce pass. What's going on, y'all? Never heard of a trade kicker until today. Really? Okay. So trade kickers, or what a lot of people use as trade bonuses, they are a very big part of the NBA contracts. A lot of players actually have them right now. Here, let me go to Hoops Rumor and just show you. There are a lot of players that have trade kickers in their contract, and a lot of times I think that there are trade kickers that happen that we just aren't as aware of, because it's just maybe not the Bulls, right? And I don't blame you, honestly, because it kind of gets like shoveled under the rug a little bit. Just like, no, don't worry about this. We'll figure it out. So this is not this year, but this is a list of just the players right now that from last season that have trade kickers, and you can kind of assume that a lot of these players have the same contract. So I mean, like Giannis, for example, has a trade kicker. He'll never get traded, but like, you know, Shea, same thing. Draymond, same thing. Like, it's just like these guys are not gonna get traded. But Zach has a 15% trade kicker or a trade bonus. That's not very, you know, I think with a Rich Paul highlight, that's not very shocking. However, I think the most recent one that I can think of that was like a major part of the deal was the DeJounte Murray trade. The DeJounte Murray trade, DeJounte Murray had a trade kicker, and the Hawks and Pelicans had to figure out the whole, you know, contract matching, and it was a big part. Like they were planning on actually adding like another players to it, but the Hawks and Pelicans actually waited like extra days because of how the trade kicker works. So we'll definitely get into it. There's a lot in play here. There's be a lot of rules, but I do want to go over it because I think it's important for us to all know. Because again, if you think that for whatever reason that just because Zach LaVine is gonna, if he does get traded, he will have the trade kicker implemented. If you for some reason think or have been told that the Bulls will be in the luxury tax because of it, I just want to tell you right now that is not the case. It is true that the Bulls do have to pay the trade kicker. So if Zach does get traded, okay, whatever amount the trade kicker ends up being, that extra amount, the Bulls will have to pay it, but it does not count against their salary cap. the money, will have to be paid by the Bulls, but it just doesn't go against their salary cap. So I hope that people understand that. If you're wondering, like, well, does that prevent the Bulls from trading Zach? Not necessarily. I think that if you'd ask the Bulls today if they would rather just get rid of Zach's $250 million against the salary cap versus paying a $5.6 million trade kicker this year and then next year, they would choose the trade kicker. But it's not like the Bulls suddenly have big financial constraints because of this trade kicker. It does make the trade harder, but it's not like it's suddenly, oh my god, Zach's gonna get paid like 50 something million dollars this year now because of the trade kicker. There are people that for some reason think that Zach's contract's gonna rise to $55 million from the trade kicker. I don't know what math they use, but it's incorrect. I'll go over it today, so don't worry. We'll be getting into the whole trade kicker today because it's a big thing right now we got to talk about, because I'm sure a lot of Bulls fans have never heard of this before, and it's not shocking because it's the Bulls never sign big contracts. Team with losing home record as wins against the Knicks and Celtics on the road, of course. Yep, that's how the Bulls are. And then of course we lost to the Utah Jazz at home, and they didn't have a win on the season just yet. So there you go, the Chicago Bulls, everybody, 13-15. Wins against the Celtics and the Knicks on the road, and yet you can't win a game at home against the Utah Jazz, who didn't have a win on the season yet. Bulls for ya. They just mentioning so many missed dunks. Oh, Patrick Williams. Yeah, I think with Pat, it's just frustrating just because, like, I think that the injury has not helped him, obviously. The missed dunks were a big thing, and we actually have a website now that we can go look at like all of his dunk attempts this year. But yeah, I'm just hoping with Pat that he can just keep building off of a game like this, and I don't have to really worry about him too much moving forward. Will he become a very starter caliber, like bona fide starter in the NBA? I don't know, but I think we're kind of maybe seeing what he's gonna become, which we always keep saying. But it's still overall, like, I think Pat, he's been disappointing, but hopefully he can just find that nice kind of middle ground where we're not always like, oh, he's disappointing. I think today's game, like, yeah, he shot 5 of 13, but I can live with 5 of 13 if you're shooting 9 threes, right? So this is a sort of stat line that, like, in terms of shots, like, I can live with this. He's not a great finisher at the rim, so you use your three-point shot attempt, or you use your three-point shot to score most of your points. That's a fine thing, especially in today's world. So I'm hoping that he can just kind of harness that, honestly, when it comes to his future. But we'll see when it comes to it. Pat, people played a good 3-and-D game today, so it's what he is from what I see, because even Phillips looks even more developed as a ball handler. I don't know if Phillips is better as a ball handler necessarily, but I do think that he has grown, and you see Phillips' activity, right? Like, there are moments with Phillips you can just see his athleticism and his activity is just a little bit better, right? I will say that Phillips has been better as a ball handler too, and it seems like he's also willing to shoot the 3 ball a little bit more in traffic, especially from the corner. So yeah, I think we're kind of seeing what P. Will is going to become, and that's fine, but we'll see, right? Oh no, not Justin again. Yeah. Very timely threes for tonight for many guys. Yes, Io hit some major threes tonight, like humongous threes when it counted. Vooch also hit a big 3 when the Celtics just came down and hit a 3. Like, he came back and hit a 3. Obviously Zach's threes were huge, especially even early on for Zach when he knocked one over Derek White at like a one-on-one matchup and he just shot it over him. Yeah, Zach's threes were humongous throughout the entire game. I don't know. I think P.O. has better hands than P.O. Julian Berry drives because he has a lack of skill set at driving. Otherwise, he doesn't. Why doesn't he more often? I do think that maybe Pat's handles are a little bit better than Phillips, but I just think that with Phillips, he's just so raw right now. But I think we're actually seeing more of him going to the basket. Like, he had that and one finish today, right? And I think that you're seeing that he's understanding his value as a slasher. It's just that next step for him is having better ball control with him. And he just hasn't had it so far. Pat, unfortunately, like, he has nice handles, but he can't necessarily use them to go and score. So it's kind of iffy, right? And we even saw that moment today where he just basically got stripped from, I think, Jaylen Brown. So it's a little iffy still with Pat. But yeah, I think overall he's probably a little bit better, but it's still close. At the end of the day. Do you see the huge uptick in 3-point shooting as a problem? Why the NBA TV ratings are going down? So, Darius, I've talked about this in multiple streams now, and especially the last stream. I don't honestly think it's that big of an issue. I know a lot of people are talking about it as an issue, like a serious issue. In my opinion, though, it's not the issue. I think the biggest issue right now for the NBA, why the ratings are going down, is one, I think that there are a lot of legal streams going on, so there's that. But the reason why there are illegal streams going on is because there's a lack of accessibility to the NBA games. League Pass is stupid. I don't understand League Pass. The fact that you can't watch your own team with League Pass, I think it really prevents people from just getting League Pass. Like if you were trying to sell something to me, and it's like, well, by the way, you can't watch your favorite team on this. Like, why would I get it? I am a diehard NBA fan, but it's like, why would I get League Pass if I can't watch the Bulls with it? Especially now because the Bulls, you can only watch via antenna. So I think that's a major part of the reason why the ratings are down. But the other reason why I think the ratings are down, just to give you the TLDR, is just that I think that the personalities on TV, this includes inside the NBA, this includes ESPN's, Kendrick Perkins and others. I think that they all don't like the product because LeBron James isn't dominating the league anymore. Steph Curry, you can kind of see like Father Time's kind of hitting him, right? The other day when Chuck kind of said that the Houston Rockets they don't know how to play. This was before the Warriors versus Rockets game for the in-season tournament. The Rockets won that game, but Ernie threw it to Chuck, and Chuck was just like, well, the Rockets don't know how to play. They're not that great of a team, and the Rockets are second in the Western Conference with the second best defensive rating in the league. And yet I hear Charles Barkley say that, oh, the Rockets don't know how to play. The Rockets don't attempt that many 3-point shots, so that's not why Charles hates them. He just hates them because it's the Houston Rockets without a major superstar. So I think that if you have all these major personalities in the NBA on television, national television, saying that they don't like what they're seeing because they think that there's not like a major superstar to cover that's in a major market anymore. And they think that the 3-point shots are too many, like how Shaq and Chuck always talk about it. Then a lot of people are not going to watch the NBA because they have major people getting paid a lot of money saying on national television that, hey, this sucks. If I had people though getting paid a lot of money to say, hey, this is a good product, and they were able to market like the MVPs well, like how the in-season tournament was between Giannis Antetokounmpo and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Like, that's a damn good matchup. Yet the NBA marketing for that matchup was absolute dog shit. Hence why the ratings are not that good. So I don't think it's honestly a product in terms of too many 3-point shots being attempted, and the game looks too similar. I think you can argue that maybe it's a little bit where you see that in terms of product, I mean, that you see all the foul baiting that's happening, like how Joel Embiid tries to flop, and Jalen Brunson recently, Harden when in his prime. I think that's something that can get out of the game, and I think it would make the game better. But I just don't think that it's the too many 3-point attempts. I think when you actually watch games, there's a lot going on than just, oh my god, everyone just shoots threes. There's a lot going on. And I think that it's frustrating just to see that guys like Charles Barkley, who I think is just checked out, honestly, because of the changes happening. Guys like Kendrick Perkins, who are they're just dumb. But they have a major platform in the NBA because they get paid the money to do so, and ESPN is stupid. That's the reason why I think ratings are down. I also do think, though, that once football season ends, the ratings are actually spike because the NBA will be really the only thing that's on. So I do think it's that. Also, just to mention, when it comes to TNT games, I mean, we're seeing a lot of people go away from cable packages, right? So if you're all going to streaming services, not everyone has TNT on their streaming services. Hence, yet again, the accessibility thing is an issue. So I do think that the NBA moving to NBC is a good move because pretty much everybody can watch NBC. I question the Amazon move because I think it's going to make accessibility harder, unless they go to streaming on Twitch, which I think they should. So I'm hoping that they go to games on Twitch. But overall, that's my big answer of why I think that the ratings are down this year. In my opinion, I think there are a lot of NBA games that are very good every single night. It's just that obviously League Pass is a piece of crap. Not to mention just the UI for League Pass has been problematic for many, many years. So there's my answer overall. I think it's mostly because people's attention is split into scrolling and watching short videos. Somebody sits there and watches the full game anymore, unless you're me. I mean, unless you're also me, I guess. Like, I think honestly a lot of people in this chat watch a full NBA game because they love it. But yeah, I think maybe that's also part of it. Social media just makes things just different now, so that if you want to go watch your favorite player, you can just go on social media instead and not have to watch an NBA game. So maybe there's part of that. But still, I think it's mostly the three things I said, if I had to give you a full-out answer. Yeah, I mean, I'm only watching the Chicago Bulls whole game. I'm watching it, pausing and rewind, and watching plays often. Yeah. You spend more time on social media than on TV. That's it. Attention span's lower as a result. Maybe. But the only thing is just that, like, if that's the case, then like, that means it's a serious issue. Like, are you gonna be lowering quarters to 10 minutes then? Because there's no like, there isn't like a pitch clock in the NBA. Like, there's a shot clock, but that's always been 24 seconds for a very long time. So, do you lower the shot clock to 20 seconds then? Because I think that would be problematic, honestly. Yeah. Hey, social media, unless it's watch my favorite tours like Doug. I appreciate it, Albert. Yeah, podcasts for Bulls when I scored 2 years ago has been so great for my love of Bulls and Bears and Cubs. Podcasts are awesome, man. I think podcasts have been incredible for the not just sports space, but just everything. I'm very happy podcasts are starting to take off, or they've already taken off, but a lot of people are doing it more. Okay, can we talk about Io doing another step forward and Phillips too? Io looked legit so nice, and Phillips is like a few flaws away from being a good star in the league. Io, man, ever since Io's been in the starting lineup, he's just been so fantastic. He actually got off to a rough shooting night, and then he was able to get back to 50% shooting and scored 17 points. Yeah, this was fantastic by Io tonight. Bulls kind of needed that secondary score because Vooch really wasn't doing that tonight. He didn't have that many shots, and Kobe still had another struggle game. So, hard for Kobe, but LaVine was doing his thing, and we needed someone else, and Io really stepped up to the plate. For whatever reason, Io loves playing against the Boston Celtics. He has had a phenomenal career so far against the Boston Celtics, and I hope that continues with in his career, because that'll be just awesome. I'm sorry, I'm taking THT over Dan Terry any of the weekend, twice on Sundays. In terms of who's the better player now, I think THT is the better player. Dalen Terry, though, has impressed me this year. So, yeah. Bulls making gamblers lose money. I like it. Honestly, I won't lie. If I was a gambling man, I would not feel too great, because I would have 100% said the Bulls were only winning like 32 games this year or whatever. And my guess was 31, and we're not looking too good, right? So, yeah, it's crazy. But then also, like you said, the money line. Yeah, bro. I bet you a lot of people with the money line they lost a lot of money tonight. So yeah. Sorry, hold on. Let me chat back up here. Right now, THJ maybe has both play over Dale. He might, honestly. Defense has stepped it up lately, especially from 3. I know they played some weaker teams, but opposing 3-point percentage is under 30% in the last 5 games. It has. I think the biggest thing I've seen in the last couple of games is that the Bulls' contesting rate on 3-point attempts is just much better. They still let a few open threes be taken tonight, but I give the Bulls a lot of credit for contesting almost every 3 the Celtics took tonight. The Celtics obviously are a fantastic 3-point shooting team, and I appreciate that they contested every single 3 that they could. There were obviously a few that were uncontested, but I think that for the most part they contested almost every 3 tonight, which is props to them. I also want to give Billy a lot of props for sticking to the switch defense that they ran last time, right? They decided the last time against the Celtics that they're just going to switch everything, even with Vooch, right? They decided that was the best defense for them, especially because the Celtics just launched threes. So they decided that they're going to switch everything, and they were willing to let Vooch guard Jason Tatum, guard Jaylen Brown, and others, right? That's, I think, the best thing to do against the Boston Celtics. Just switch everything, and try to make them, beat you off the dribble. And Celtics weren't able to do that tonight. It does help that they only shot 25% from three, which is not typical of them, but I think that is honestly the best case scenario if you're the Bulls. It's like they just shoot bad from three. They're not going to try to take you off the dribble too much. So let's just stick to this. It's a good job by the Bulls. Pat's hands so wide because he's scared to hit his feet, and he does indeed hit his feet every single time. Oh yeah, Pat dribbling off his foot is just happens way too consistently. But yeah, Julie's better at catching the ball on cuts. I agree. Because Phillips just has the better athleticism, so he's just be a better cutter at the end of the day. Biggest tragic game for him in the Warriors today. It was tragic, wasn't it? I feel like the same people complaining about the three-point shooting are the same people complaining about the Tim Duncan Spurs were boring. People don't know what they want. Well, I agree. I think that when you ask a lot of people, like back in like let's say 2012 or whatever, like, what would you change? And everyone would just be like, oh, there's just too many slow moments, and we see that guys take tough shots, etc., etc. If you want to go watch some bad basketball, go watch like the 20-something, I forget which year it was, honestly, but it was like, what, 2016 Lakers or something like that? Maybe it was 2015, where it's just like no three-point shooting, it's just slow tempo, it's I don't know, it's just like it was just people complain about certain things, and then suddenly the game changes, and it's like, oh, we hate how it looks now. I just think there's always going to be complainers about it. It's just that now the complainers have just a major platform because social media exists. And then we have people coming in like Kendrick Perkins who are absolute idiots who get a major spotlight. I do think that Charles Barkley and the Inside the NBA crew just might be checked out. Hence, if they're not engaged, then why would other people be engaged, right? But, let's say, for example, let's just say because there's a rumor right now that NBC is trying to get Carmelo Anthony. Let's say Carmelo Anthony is part of like the new crew for NBC covering NBA games, and he's like, talks about how awesome this team is, and gives you like a nice full breakdown of how teams play. Then I think a lot of people are going to be watching again because Melo is a pretty big figure. That obviously the game has passed him now because of just his age, but he played sort of like this more up-tempo style, and he understands how the game is played, where it's not just like, oh, everyone just shoots threes. So I think, honestly, man, it's the biggest thing with NBA ratings is that you have personalities right now on television that just don't want to watch the games. Get rid of that, and I think you're looking a lot better in terms of your ratings. I do also think that some of the broadcast teams need to be better. Like, I honestly think Tim Legler for ESPN needs to be on the A team. I don't know who exactly that means you're taking off. Like, I'm gonna say you just take away Richard Jefferson from the A team, but like Tim Legler is a guy that I would love to listen to, and I will listen to every single word he says in a game. It's just that you got other guys now, like for TNT, for example. Like, I mean, I haven't been as critical of Reggie Miller compared to others, but I won't lie, I've been kind of critical of him this year in terms of his commentary. So it's just an overall, I think a pretty big overhaul needs to be done to the media for the NBA. I think some guys have just, their time is done in the media, guys, because there's a lot of guys in their 60s, and not to be ageist, but I just think that it's just kind of time. Like, you need new blood coming in to kind of cover some of these things. So yeah, sorry, I know we keep talking about it. I think that we're changing of the guard moment in the NBA, if you will. All the classical stars like LeBron, Chris Paul and steph are on their last years. Yeah, I do think that's also a big moment. Like, just seeing like some of these generational players actually like going out right now, I do think that's a big factor. And obviously LeBron and Steph are in major markets, so it's not like, oh, Giannis is in LA right now, so that everyone's focused on Giannis in LA. If we had like Zion Williamson actually healthy and playing in LA, I think there will be a lot more people watching. But that yet again shows you how bad the marketing team is for the NBA. They got to do a better job at marketing for some of the smaller market teams, because if you guys aren't aware, Jokic is averaging a triple-double, Giannis is having a historical season, and Shea is having an MVP caliber season right now. They're all in smaller markets, yet the market, we just don't see the marketing for those guys as good as compared to LeBron and Steph in obviously California and big cities. So it's just a big combination of it all. At the end of the day, if you just want to find something to complain about because they like the old ways, I do think that there's some nostalgia people that just want to see the NBA go back to old school, slow tempo, and whenever someone makes a shot at the end of a buzzer, end of a shot clock, and like it's like a crazy hard tough mid-range shot, they like shed a tear. Like I think they want to go and see that again. I just am personally not one of those people. Maybe because I am, I'm a Gen Zer and I'm just like I'm younger and I'm like I like what I see in the NBA now. So I don't. Maybe it's just me, and I didn't get to watch the '90s growing up, but I don't know. Personally, I think the product is awesome. Still, I think the players are awesome. More importantly, like I think that there's a lot of stars in this league right now that deserve a lot more coverage, and yet we're not seeing it. I think that if the NBA just marketed teams better, then we're looking a lot better in terms of ratings. So yeah, it's just a big overall just problem, I think, in the end from marketing standpoint. Until there's a defensive scheme to consistently eliminate three-point shooting, it's going to happen. I really don't see anything working consistently except poor shooting, and the problem is the refs' inconsistencies pisses fans off in betting. So I think one thing to, if people are going to be like, okay, we need to lower the three-point shots, then the one thing, like I said, is like the refs just need to be better. Get rid of the whole foul baiting BS. Because that is one of the reasons why there are more three-point attempts being taken, is because players are afraid for, like, they're going to jump into a guy. So they don't close out as hard as they probably could. And maybe there's that you can change. I've been a person, though, that has said that I think hand checking can be allowed again. I'd be okay with that. I think that it would give a defender another option just because of how the spacing is now. Being on an island right now, like, people used to talk about one-on-one defense all the time and how, like, it was so effective, and now one-on-one defense now, it's like, it's so hard to be a damn good one-on-one defender because the spacing is so big, right? Because everyone shoots a three ball. So, I think hand checking, I wouldn't personally be opposed to it coming back. But I'm not going to do anything like, I'm not going to add a 4-point line. I'm not going to suddenly say, oh, you can't have, defensive 3 seconds anymore. Because I think that if you get rid of defensive 3 seconds, I think you're just going to see more threes attempted, which is what people don't want to apparently see, right? So like, I think when people start saying like, hey, we got to start changing some rules, I start to really question what they are actually thinking. Because if, for example, if Victor Wembanyama, who just had 4 blocks tonight in an overtime game and 42 points, is able to just stand at the rim for the entire defensive possession, there is going to be not a single team in this league that is going to be going up for layups when he's on the court, okay? Hence, then, if you're going to be shooting jump shots, you're just going to be shooting threes, right? Because it's the most efficient jump shot. It's 3 points versus 2. So I don't think getting rid of defensive 3-second violation is going to help. I think getting rid of offensive 3-second violation might help, though. I think that's something that you could maybe think about doing, is getting rid of the offensive 3-second violation, because that will allow players to kind of anchor down low a little bit more often, and not be so afraid like, oh, I'm going to be get called for a defense or for an offensive 3-second violation. That would maybe incentivize teams to go to the basket more, because you're allowed to kind of just stay in the paint a little bit longer, right? So maybe there's that that can happen. Maybe you increase it from 3 seconds to 5 seconds on the offensive end. But I still would keep the defensive 3-second violation in. Like, I think that's something that needs to stay in the game, because unless you want Giannis Antetokounmpo just standing at the rim every single possession, and just ready to block your shot, then I think you need to keep that in the game, because that's not something that should be allowed, honestly. I think the games are good if you're into analytics. If you're a casual fan, don't know why both teams are taking 60 plus threes and missing 40. You don't really see the minutia. But okay, so here's just something that I wanted to just make clear when the word analytics gets thrown around, okay? Analytics has gotten this negative connotation, and I don't know why. Analytics is just another word for information, okay? We've had information, or what people like to use a lot is just stats, since the beginning of this game, okay? Analytics, though, people have suddenly started to use that term to try to throw off of some of this other information that's been coming out, okay? And so at the end of the day, we kind of use the word analytics kind of, just maybe a little bit too often when it's really just another word for information. So once again, analytics is just another word for information. At the end of the day, if you were to just give someone a simple math problem, then they would all come to the same damn conclusion, which is that 3 is more than 2, and if I can shoot a jump shot from this percentage and it's only 2 points, and shoot a jump shot from this percentage and it's 3 points, well, every single person will come to the same conclusion that, hey, you should probably shoot the 3 ball. I think that's fine. Just like how in every single sports game right now, it's like you see teams trying to find ways to become more efficient. Just like in every business model, you see every business, at least if you have the right intentions in mind, try to become more efficient with everything. So at the end of the day, analytics is just another word for information. You use this information to become more efficient. And I think that's just what's happening in the NBA, and I'm fine with it. Like I love it, honestly. Hence the Bulls tonight, 52 threes attempted. Like, that's cool to me. I love this sort of stuff. Yet I understand though that there are a lot of people just like, we didn't grow up watching this. I hate this. But I always just tell people, like, listen, the game is different. I think baseball is different from back then. I think football is different from just 15 years ago. I don't know. I don't know too much more about hockey and golf or anything like that. But even in NASCAR, like, I know that there's not a lot of NASCAR fans, but even in NASCAR, I feel like the races are different. So I just kind of throw that out to people just because I'm like, listen, times just change. I think that's fine if times change. And things change at the end of the day. So sorry, I'm a little upset because YouTube just stopped my ad blocker. Yeah, I personally, I'm fine where the game is today. I have no issues with it. If every team was actually averaging over 43s per game, which is not the case, but yet people still think it's actually the case. If every single team was averaging over 43s per game, then yes, I would say there's a serious issue. But at the end of the day, though, we've talked about like analytics or information, right? There are still teams that just go and try to dominate the paint, because that is also a very efficient shot. So it's not just like, oh, every single team now has to shoot threes because it's the most analytically most efficient shot. There's also paint points where a lot of people shoot very high percentages to get 2 points, right? So it's not just every single team is shooting over 43s per game. There are only 5 teams, okay, that average 40 or more threes per game. Now I understand that if you want to count the 39 point whatever team, sure. So let's say there's 8 teams, okay? But yeah, you still have the Denver Nuggets down here who are 14 and 10 and they average only 30, okay? The New York Knicks only average 36, okay? And I think if you asked a lot of people, even if they were very anti 3-point attempts, then that's a fine number to be at. So personally, I think it's fine. And I again, if every single team was actually averaging 43s or more per game, I'd say there's a serious issue in our hands. But that's just not the case yet. Yeah. I saw something somewhere saying the NBA notices the uptick in threes, wants to do something about it. I wonder what, if anything, they'll do. I don't know, honestly, and I just don't trust Adam Silver to do the right thing at this point. So I hope really nothing happens. But we'll see. We'll see what they decide to do at the end of the day. Probably this game was free money. Bulls played that close game. Yeah, it definitely was. Taking without taking by shooting threes. I think it's the NBA what worries about. Yeah, I wish to bet money line, but did win one. Oh yeah. Honestly, again, I don't do betting, so that's your guys' forte. I stay out of betting. When it comes to this sort of stuff. Why we still would have won if Giddey played? That's honestly a good question, right? I think the defense would have been a little bit worse tonight if Giddey played, but I don't know. I really don't know. I think though, I obviously had a really good game, and Zach coming back and looking really fresh helped a lot. So yeah, really nice. Trading Zach for Porter sounds horrible for the Bulls. So we'll talk about this. Honestly, I'll let you guys decide, because I know like the game is like it's no longer like on our minds that much anymore. But I do want to talk a little bit more about the game if possible. But if we just want to go straight to just talking about the LaVine and Porter Jr. trade, then I'm all for it. I think that's fine. Yeah, I want to trade for 10 million less only with degenerate back issues that worry about back more than any. We'll talk about it. Duarte had a great showcase today. I wonder if someone comes calling for him. He can clearly contribute at NBA level. I hope someone comes calling for him. I think Duarte deserves a better shot somewhere else. I still don't understand. Wait, sorry. I don't understand how Kendrick Perkins still has a job, but Zach Lowe doesn't. I honestly, Darius, I am with you. I don't know how that's possible. Zach Lowe is awesome. He makes me want to watch more NBA basketball, and yet ESPN got rid of him and laid him off just so that you can pay Stephen A a large sum of money, keep Kendrick Perkins on the NBA pregame and postgame shows, and get Shams Charania, which I know is important for them. But yeah, I hate that Zach Lowe got laid off and Kendrick Perkins is still around. Like if I'm like, I don't know what exactly the numbers are, but like if I'm just a sane person doing the business for ESPN, you get rid of Kendrick Perkins before you get rid of Zach Lowe. Like it's just a simple decision. But yeah, I don't know if there are sane people in the NBA or in the ESPN right now. So they do care about Jokic and Shea. Then it's like you said, Duncan, they're not marketing them right. No, they aren't marketing them right now. I mean, I like Jokic is legitimately having a triple double this season. Like I don't know how this is not talked about more often. Like Jokic is averaging 30 points per game and he's averaging a triple double, and we just hear nothing. Like it's just nothing's happening with it. One of the most historic seasons ever. I mean, talking about a 30-point triple double right now being averaged. Okay. Westbrook obviously did it. Okay, but we're talking about a center who is averaging 49% from 3-point range and 31 points per game, 13 rebounds, and 10 assists, and nothing's being said. We're just like, yeah, we don't care, I guess. Giannis is also having a historic season. He'd be the only person ever in history to average 33 points per game on 60+% from the field, while also averaging 11 rebounds and 6 assists per game. The only player in history to do that if he actually gets to 33 points per game, which he might already be setting a historic number if he just gets to 32. But I mean, like we're seeing like insane seasons from some people, and yet we're just like, no, we don't care, I guess, because LeBron James, who I have to scroll down to 24th here, is not having that great of a season. Steph Curry also, because he's not playing as many minutes because Steve Kerr's trying to save him, not having that great of a season, right? Or at least to their standards. Like it's still obviously pretty good, but it's just not to their standards, right? So you got more teams right now, because if you look at the top 3 scorers in the NBA, I mean, you're looking at small market, bigger, smaller market, right? Like it's just smaller markets. And the NBA doesn't know what to do with smaller market teams, which is insane. Like, come on, do better, guys. This is your job to figure out how to market these guys and actually get people to watch these games. I still watch these games because I'm very engaged in the NBA, but if you're trying to get like, you know, another like 14-year-old me trying to learn NBA basketball for like the first year, then you gotta market these players well, right? Only reason why I was able to like kind of get quickly with some of these guys is because I'm like the NBA marketing, I think back then was just better. Now I understand that LeBron in Miami probably helped, but you know, having that sort of like generational player does help a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's still on the NBA to market these guys, even if they're in a smaller market. And we're seeing amazing seasons from these guys, and it's just like no one cares. I mean, you see face all the young guys they have is Matt at best. I mean, I think Wembanyama is like the best guy, right? But that being said, though, why don't before we even get to like the new face of the NBA, how about we just look at the guys that are currently in their prime? Like, why can't any of these guys be the face of the NBA, right? Why can't Luka Doncic, who made the finals last year, be a face in the NBA, right? Like, I don't need to go to like, oh, we need a Victor Wembanyama just yet to be the face of the NBA. That time is coming soon. I'm sure it's going to come at some point, but it's not now, okay? Maybe year 3, honestly, he'll take that next step. But if I talk about face of the NBA, like I don't need to go to like a 23-year-old right now. I can easily just look at Giannis and Jokic and Shea and Doncic and Tatum and Edwards. Like these guys can all, in my opinion, be faces of the NBA. But yet we can't do that. You know, it's so frustrating. I also do wonder though if the NBA has like some issue with some of the other like foreign players, because all these guys up here, they're not from America, right? Shea is from Canada, so I don't know if that's just an issue, and like maybe American people watching the NBA just don't want to watch like people from Greece dominate the NBA. I personally am all for it. I would love to see Giannis dominate the NBA constantly, which he's doing right now. Like, I don't care the fact that he's from Greece. Like, it's awesome that he's from Greece. So it's just, yeah, I don't know if there's that going on and the NBA just doesn't know what to do with themselves, but yeah, it's frustrating at the end of the day. People want to see some physicality back in the game. Maybe. I again though, I still think that even if you watch today's game, like there was a lot going on defense. Like, it's just that people think, oh, it's not as good as it was before because back then the spacing was so crap that, oh, no one gets an easy drive. Like, yeah, no one got an easy drive back in the day because the spacing was different. So, you know, there's that. But like I said, if you want any sort of physicality coming back, I think that honestly bringing back the hand checking, I think, is a fine idea. So maybe there's that at the end of the day. Accessibility is a phenomenal point. I do think that it's a phenomenal point. Plus on how much it is to watch games. It does cost a lot, yeah. We're in a bad time in terms of just obviously everything spiking in terms of costs. So like I understand, like, you know, there's ESPN, right? But I wish ABC had more games. Because like ESPN is nationally broadcasted, but you need to have ESPN, which costs money, right? You need a streaming service that carries it, or cable package that carries ESPN. Like we've talked about, there are just less people having cable packages in today's world, so there's just less people with ESPN and TNT. So I honestly wish that the NBA just had more games on ABC, because I think that would really help them. I also think that going to NBC is good. The NBA going to NBC next year they'll have better numbers just because there's just gonna be more people with NBC available to them, especially now Bulls fans, because you have an antenna, so you get to watch NBC at any time. But I think that the Amazon thing is just scaring me, because I hope that they stream it on Twitch, because if they stream it on Twitch like the NFL does on Thursday nights, I think that'll help them a lot. I think a lot of people will watch it on Twitch for free. That's the great thing about Twitch, is that it's free. So please, if the NBA is thinking about it, just do it. Yeah, can't wait to watch for the next Bucks Bulls game and people on Giannis again, see what happens. Maybe refs don't give him every call like most games. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I doubt it though. I don't want the game to go back to being slower paced. The game naturally evolves over time, happens in all sports. Yeah, honestly, like I like, okay, so again, I didn't watch the 90s, but I did watch, you know, 2012 to 13 season. That was my first season when I watched. Was not like a diehard, but I watched it that was the first year I tuned in. The 2013-14 season was the first time I ever watched the full season, like from beginning to end. Much slower pace, different game, okay? I personally, though, would rather stay this way and just keep taking efficient shots and guys shooting threes when they should. I think the post-up is something that can come back and find ways to be effective. It's just that guys have to be use it differently. You can't always be looking to score in the post. I think using the post to pass is a great thing to do. I think recently, though, especially against the Thunder in the NBA Cup game, I think we saw that, like, when you have 2 7-footers out there, there's different things you can do, right? We saw the Bucks really use their size to their advantage against the Thunder, who played basically 5 small. So like, it's not like size is dead. Like, I want to make that clear. Size isn't dead in the NBA. I just think that there are people now that think, oh, size is just gone. Well, hence then Giannis is a 7-footer right now. Jokic is also a 7-footer and dominating. Anthony Davis is still here. Like, Karl-Anthony Towns, Victor Wembanyama, like, these size is still here. Like, it's not like everyone's playing small all of a sudden. I do think, though, that the small guard, though, in the NBA is something that is kind of on its way out. So, like, the John Morants of the world, I don't think we're going to see too many of them moving forward. But overall, though, I think size is still here. Like, I don't think size is just gone from the NBA. Size is still very important. So I'm aware the Boston Celtics don't exactly have the best size in the world, but they still have Porzingis and Horford. I just like teams playing to their personality. Nothing wrong shooting 53s. You have the roster for it, but if you don't, then I'd rather watch teams play to their own strengths. Oh, for sure. I think there are teams that still do that. However, though, I think for teams that are still kind of like in the middle of like, well, we don't have the greatest 3-point shooting team, but we also can't necessarily score in the paint consistently, then they're just going to go back to shooting the threes. Like, if they had just a good mid-range shooting team, as we saw with the Chicago Bulls for the past 3 seasons, offensively just isn't that effective. Okay, like the Bulls were the definition of a good mid-range shooting team for the past 3 seasons because they had DeMar DeRozan. But it just shows that it's just not that effective because they also couldn't score in the paint and they also couldn't get to the free throw line consistently. So you need, if you're going to be a mid-range scoring team, you also have to get to the paint consistently and shoot free throws. But that's hard. That's a lot, right? So hence why people revert to the 3-point shot more. It's just that if you're building a team though to be mid-range heavy, I honestly think that you're basically saying that we're just going to suck on offense. That's kind of just asking to die on offense. You could build a good defensive team though and try to win with your defense. That's fine, but on offense though, you're basically just saying, yeah, we're just gonna be bad on offense. And I think that's like something that if a mid-range team never comes back into the NBA, I think that's fine, honestly. People just have to adjust, right? You have to be better at finishing inside, getting to the free throw line more often, finding ways to score off the dribble with keeping your dribble alive to get more shots in the paint, right? Mid-range will always still be in the NBA. I'm not saying get rid of it. We saw Zach take some mid-range shots tonight that I think were good shots, right? Zach's big shot in the fourth quarter over Porzingis was a mid-range shot. He also hit a mid-range shot over Porzingis in the second quarter, I believe it was. Maybe it was the first quarter, but it was in the first half, and that was a good shot. There's always times for it, but it's not something you should build your offense around. Guys just have to adjust to it differently. Like DeRozan, I honestly just think that his game, like there's a way to keep him around, but not have him be like the focal point. And I think the Kings are trying to get there, but it's hard because DeRozan really does need the ball in his hands. Chris Ganson, I just wanted this one. I could have swore I heard the Celtics coach would not be in Saturday's game because of suspension. Oh, interesting. I do not know if that's the case or not, but let me know. I have not checked Twitter for that, but I seriously doubt it. I think it's rights marketing accessibility thing mainly. I think that's the biggest issue. I mean, he's arrived. They're at a peak with Russell and Wilt in the 60s and Bird and Magic in the 80s. But then also, I think Jordan in the 90s gets like the bad boy Pistons and just honestly everybody, right? Yeah, maybe you could say that there needs to be a rivalry. I mean, it's funny because people were complaining when the Cavs and the Warriors went to 4 straight NBA Finals, right? And everyone's like, "Oh my God, what a horrible league! That's the same 2 teams made it to the NBA Finals 4 seasons in a row. What a horrible league to watch! Like this is so stupid." Yet here we are asking for rivalries. Like, you see, like I don't know what people want at the end of the day. You know, I'm just pointing that out. Sorry, hold on. There's a lot of people in chat. I do appreciate everyone being here. If you have not already hit the like button on streaming, please do. It helps me out a lot. Once again, we will be getting to the Zach LaVine trade rumors in this stream no matter what. I promise you. We will be getting there. I promise you. That we'll be getting there. Bulls not taking rights. Some Bulls fans are probably mad. I think so. Yeah. I'm a Googler. I'm doing good overall, Magula. Thank you for asking. I hope you're doing well. How are you guys doing? Thank you for checking in. And analysis is why every player tries to be as efficient as possible. I think that's what everyone should be striving for. Jokic is remarkable enough to be the face of the league despite being a phenom on the court. Okay, well, why isn't Jokic marketable enough? Okay, Tim Duncan, I feel like people said he isn't marketable enough, yet people know him all the time. Like, I don't understand that argument whatsoever. Like, why isn't Jokic marketable enough? Because he's not making dunks every single time down the floor. Like, I mean, look, he's shooting threes, okay? Like, we can't be like, oh, he's not taking enough threes or whatever. No, he's taking threes, okay? Jokic just isn't marketable enough. That's insane. Like, if you talk about personality-wise and just the way that he, like, talks and whatever, like, Tim Duncan never talks. Yet he was very marketable, in my opinion. Like, less marketable, sure, but people know him all the time now. I don't know. I think that's just that's a crazy thing. What are your thoughts on the new All-Star game format? I think it'll last. I'm just kind of like, I just don't really care about it. Like, I just whatever will find a way for the players to just play hard in an All-Star game. I'm kind of all for it, but do I think this is the way? No. Yeah, I don't know. It's just All-Star game format's whack. But if it gets the players to play hard, sure, like awesome, we'll keep it. But I don't think it's gonna make the players play harder. I think it'll just still be a kind of shoot around thing. What about if they hate for NBA around 2020 LeBron on social media, all that make it casual tune out based off others' opinions? Maybe. But that being said, though, if that is the case, then that's still on the NBA to market just better. Like, if it's politics, that's the reason why you're not watching the NBA. Okay, sure, I respect your opinion, but then the NBA needs to find a way to just still be doing good marketing for their players still. Basketball is basketball, man. The NBA is the one league right now in America that has these players, right? That can do this sort of thing on a nightly basis. So use it well, you know? Anyway, the Bulls can still make the playoffs, still keep the pick. No, that is not possible. The Bulls will be out of the lottery then. Pick is top 10 protected. They want an America face of the NBA because it's so American fans have turned it off. I mean, if that is the case, then the NBA is being stupid. Because Shohei Ohtani is the face of baseball, and yeah, obviously he's very much not from America. So just be better, NBA. Future face of the NBA will be Montes Bezos. He has old school type attitude. That'd be awesome, but not gonna happen. Have you seen the Thinking Basketball rule changes? I have not seen that. I'll have to go look at that. So before some fans want to tank last year, and let's say they got the first pick. Who were they chosen Matas than you originally think, right? What happens if your team and roster is better than expected? I don't know. I will say that last year was not the year to tank. So for the people that wanted to tank last year was not the year to tank for the Bulls, and I'm glad that they didn't. So yeah. MEC will bring nostalgia back for how long? Who knows? I'm hoping for a while. I like the fact that it's just more accessible, and I think that just having new blood be covering NBA games is good. So I hope it lasts for a while. We'll see who's going to be part of it. Like, if they actually get Melo, I think that's awesome. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see if they get actual good people, because it's like it's one thing to just be on NBC, but then if you actually hire bad people, then bad. I know Taylor Rooks is going over there, so there's that. You know, I mean, people have thoughts on her, but she'll be over there at the very least. You know, wait, bad names if they get something happen. NBC may help. My buddy made the same argument with UFC about having more international stars than homegrown, affecting viewership. Yeah, if that really is the case, bro, then I don't know how you like NBA basketball. Like, if you really can't get behind that there are stars in this league that aren't from America, like, bro, I mean, that's just crazy to me. I mean, look, I know this is not a baseball channel, but like, I love Shohei Ohtani. Like, I love the fact that he has done historical things, even in a year where he was just a hitter. He has put up historical things. Giannis, Jokic are putting up historical seasons. I think that's awesome. I'm aware that I'm a Bulls fan, so I shouldn't like the Bucks, but like, I'm just an NBA fan at the end of the day. So Giannis and Jokic put up historical seasons is awesome. Market that, please, for the love of God. Have you talked about the new All-Star format? I won't talk about it too much. I don't think it's gonna do enough to make guys play harder, but we'll see. Celtics have to be an issue for revenge on Saturday. I think Celtics will win on Saturday. Yeah. A lot went right tonight for the Bulls to win tonight's game. It was like there was a lot that had to go right tonight, and I think we all are aware of it. Not just DeMar, but also Zach and Vooch from mid-range on that part being. Oh yeah, Zach and Vooch were also part of the mid-range team. Like they're all good mid-range shooters for the most part. Not Vooch really in recent years, but for the most part, right? It just wasn't good. Hence, then mid-range heavy teams just aren't gonna work. It's just unless you actually go out and like shoot like 55% consistently from mid-range, I don't think it's is good enough. I mean, from like a team-wide standpoint, which no team's gonna do that. Glad to hear that NBA and NBC theme again would bring back so many memories. Yeah, I mean, I obviously didn't grow up listening to that, but I have heard the theme and I've heard it all the time. So yeah, I think it'd be a good thing to bring back. I forgot how the draft works, so don't worry. Celtics probably blow up both the Bulls the next game. I think that's probably gonna happen too. That's hilarious. International players being the problem. Sports is the biggest meritocracy in the world. If the best players are foreign, oh well, then American players need to play harder. Yeah, honestly, if you're upset that your American-born player is not the best player in the world, well, guess what? Then you gotta just be better. Like again though, just support these guys, man. Like I don't think people understand what we're watching. Like only a handful of people make the NBA, right? And what these guys can do, only a handful of people on planet Earth can do. Okay, like it's not like everybody in the NBA can go on average 30 points per game. That's not possible for a majority of the population. Like what we get to watch on a nightly basis is awesome. But yeah, people here are just like, no, not that important. I will also say this, and this is kind of maybe an interesting point to bring up. So I don't know exactly what the numbers are for like demographics for the NBA. But I also do think that like kind of people from like my generation, so like I'm Gen Z, okay? If you're wondering, I'm 23. But like I started watching the NBA 10 years ago, like full on. So like I was if you think, I was 13, okay? Then from pretty much from 13 on, okay, my life has been revolving around the NBA, okay? That still is the case today. Like my life still revolves around the NBA. Like I don't miss NBA. Like I don't specifically miss Bulls games. I might have to miss other games, but I still make sure that my evenings are available so that I can watch Bulls games, okay, and also as many other NBA games as I can. That's my life, okay. I've made sure that my job does not go into the evening because of NBA, okay. Now that being said, though, I'm me. That's me. Like I'm just one person, okay. I also stream, so it's important for me to be watching NBA, right? I just think that maybe the other people from my generation, like maybe they don't have like that ability to always have that, like be able to watch NBA games, because now that they've officially hit adulthood, right? They just have different priorities. That maybe they were an avid NBA watcher back then, but now it's changed. Now then though, it's like, okay, well then the next generation should be coming in, right, and taking over where I was before, right, or where other people in my generation were before. So like as they quote unquote age out, right, and so now they're not watching the NBA as much because they have their job and family and priorities, right? Then the next generation should be coming in and watching it. However, though, the next generation has not come in yet to be like a full out like diehard NBA fans. It just hasn't happened yet. And the reason why, yet again, I think it's just marketing. So maybe there's that, but also maybe social media is playing a big factor, like we've talked about. I think that maybe it could be it. It's just that, yet again, though, I always just say accessibility will get you views. The NFL is accessible, except now they're having games on Christmas on Netflix, which is stupid. But for the most part, though, the NFL is accessible pretty much anywhere. Whether it is the Sunday games or the Thursday night football game, you get to watch it pretty much for free. The NBA just does not have that. It's not every single Wednesday should have an ESPN game if there is a game, which is not always the case. But that game should, no matter what, be, in my opinion, on ABC, because they're the same company. So the fact though that it's only on ESPN and you need to pay for ESPN, that's gonna kill your ratings. Again, there are people that have been cutting back on cable packages. So now the next generation coming in and, Gen Alpha that are looking to watch NBA games, like they just don't have the same accessibility suddenly, because back then cable TV was a standard in the household, right? Now though, it's just not. So it's something that I just seriously think that I need to start thinking about. Is like, okay, how can we make sure our games are more accessible to all people? Because the cable, remember, television was a standard. Like a cable television was a standard for a lot of people. Now that's not the case anymore. Things have changed. So just like how the game has changed, the NBA needs to adjust to these changes and just be better and make sure that they have more accessibility to these people. Because if let's say a family has decided to get rid of their cable subscription because they don't watch cable anymore, which means that they don't have they don't have, ESPN available to their children, then the children aren't going to be able to watch those games on ESPN or watch the games on TNT. But if you make it so that it's basically like for free, right, for all these NBA games, then you'll get the views, you'll get the next generation. So I don't know, just pointing out things. NBA can just be better. I know there's a new TV deal coming in, but I don't have full faith in how they do things. So again, I think NBC is a good thing. They're still going to be broadcasting on ESPN though, so I do have questions about that. And then we'll see about Amazon. If it's on Twitch, great. If it's not, I'll have some problems with it overall. I was starting when I started watching the NBA back in '97. The Bulls fit style. I remember watching live on NBC, watching on NBA app because I just wanted to. But the 04-05 Bulls were my favorite because they brought me back into the game. Didn't watch from 99 to 04. And you probably didn't watch because, Jordan's gone, right? But yeah, I mean, I think still, I understand that. Like, there is the whole, superstar that plays a big factor. I just state that the NBA just is marketing them bad. Wemby is 4 and he'll be a star, no problem, once the Spurs are a bit better. But the current crop of international stars just kind of met personality-wise, in my opinion. But that shouldn't be a problem when it comes to being a good, like, marketing your player well. Like, that shouldn't be an issue. Like, just because they don't have, like, the best personalities, like, that really should not be an issue. I understand that it's like, you want the guy to, be in front of the cameras all the time, but let's just be real. Like, that, you're just not going to get that, especially nowadays. So if that's the case, then be better, NBA. You can market guys to be a big face of the league, and they aren't the most talkative people. Like, that's fine. What's going on, Charles? That is a free to air the new generation as well as foreign players get less interest for Americans. Yeah, that's just stupid. Need strong personalities to build storylines to get national coverage as casual fans. I mean, I understand that part, but I think that we're losing, like, diehard fans right now. That's the part that I'm more concerned about. Silver is not on the market of the product like Stern did. I think Adam Silver, his priorities are a little bit backwards. I do. Like, I think Adam Silver is like, he's trying to make sure that, like, okay, we have guys playing more often and etc. or whatever. Like, I'll be interested to see what actually does happen. I know that there's also that part of the NBA right now where it's like, okay, guys are missing a lot of games. That's something that I will say that might need to be addressed. That is something that we'll see about that. But I think with Adam Silver, like, the whole in-season tournament thing, just, I don't understand it. It's not that, it's just not that great. Stern was interesting. Like, I think Stern, like, he had a pretty hard fist when it comes to a lot of things, but he did know how to market guys a little bit better. When I come to think of it, again, I wasn't around for much of Stern's time as commissioner, but he did market guys better, in my opinion. Silver is about, like, he just does these weird things that I just, like, I don't exactly know what it's gonna do. So trying to be players commissioner, I don't think it's that. I think there are times where you look at Silver, like, do I think he's more of a players commissioner than Stern? For sure. Like, I completely agree with that. But I don't necessarily think that Silver's like a players commissioner. I think, like, the most recent collective bargaining agreement, like, I think that shows you that that's not for the players. Like, that was very much for the owners. So I don't know what exactly the balance is that Silver needs to kind of implement, but I think that he needs to make sure that the next TV deal is right. And we need to make sure that, find a way to seriously prioritize that the regular season does matter. Because right now, the whole in-season tournament and then the playing games, it's not enough. Like, it just isn't. So yeah, I think that's something that needs to be addressed. Probably the same thing as baseball racing, where they wanted to attract more younger fans. I agree. I agree, Rob, that it might be honestly the similar issue. So another part is that there's so much to consume at the moment. Why watch the NBA with game stoppages and delays? Well, I mean, I think everything has just delays. I think maybe instead that with the NBA, like, you need to figure out ways to speed up the process of things, but there's always going to be stoppages and delays. That's just part of the game. So you can't take that out. Yeah, that's factor. Charles. Olympic basketball spoiled me with the lack of ads this summer. But even then there were still ads, right? Like, I still think even then there was still like a decent amount of ads for the Olympic basketball. Should there be maybe less ads that NBA should run? Maybe, but that's not going to go over well with the owners and the TV deals, right? So I got lucky though with the first Magic Bird finals and then the drafting of Jordan 84. He did get lucky for sure. It does help when you have superstars in the proper markets. Money is starting lower free-to-air games, expensive as to get the NBA app and players was so much that I don't know if it's even sustainable to have gone up so fast. Yeah. Put it all together, and yeah, that's why. That's why I can't watch games live and usually want to watch behind a little bit so I can fast forward through commercials. Bro, really? Are we there already? Look, bro, I have ADHD and like I'm not even there. Like I can last through commercials just because like I don't know. I guess I'm just so tuned into the game that like I can last through commercials. Just knowing that it's live. Like, you know. I guess maybe that's also part of it. It's just like maybe people just don't care about it that it's live anymore. I personally care that I watch games live. Like if you ask me, I'm not a person that could watch a recording. Like if I was watching a recording for if that's the first time I'm watching the game but it's a recording, I can't do it. My friend David, who's been on this channel before, he can watch Magic games for like a recording. Like he's fine with it. I personally can't. I need to watch games live. Like that's the reason why, again, like my world revolves around the Bulls basketball and the NBA basketball. Like I make sure I get to watch games live as much as possible. I just wish that the game started when it said it would. That is also something that needs to be better. Yeah. Start games actually on time. Like start games at the actual top of the hour, please. That will do wonders for viewership. Simmons game versus the Nuggets. Oh my god, really? The Nuggets just lost? Boy, I wonder what the Nuggets could honestly go and do right now to really help this team that just lost to one of the worst teams in the NBA. Boy, oh boy, wouldn't that be something? What could the Nuggets actually feasibly do to go and be better so that they can beat the 9-18 Portland Trailblazers? I wonder what sort of move they could go on to. Let's move on to the Zach LaVine talks, okay? So this is huge, all right? This is something that I was not expecting, and then when I say that, I mean about the rumors. Like I was not expecting the Zach LaVine rumors to actually happen, because all that's been really talked about is how the contract is too big, which I understand, and yet while Zach's having a damn good season, he just isn't drawing interest because the contract is such an issue. Now let's go to this, okay? Because now all of a sudden we have the rumors like, oh no, maybe the Nuggets are interested. So let's first talk about that. The fact that the Nuggets are interested is crazy. It's also good. The Bulls might actually have a trade partner here, and I hope that it actually does happen. Not just for the Bulls' sake, but also just for Zach's sake. Like I think Zach going to Denver would honestly put him in the perfect situation. Excuse me. Hold on 1 second. So I honestly think that when it comes to Zach, I've said consistently that people have always questioned me, but I've said that Zach can be a number 2 on a championship team, okay? The thing is though, it's like when I say that, like the number 1 has to be like a damn good player. So like you can't like put Zach LaVine and let's just say for example like Bradley Beal together, okay? Like Zach could be your number 2 technically in that sort of equation. He's probably your number 1, but let's just say like it's Zach LaVine and I guess maybe we'll say Devin Booker. I don't know. But that wouldn't work, okay? Like if LaVine's like your number 2 to another number 2, it's not gonna work, okay? However, if LaVine is actually the number 2 and you have a legit number 1 on your team, okay? So the people I've always said is like Giannis. If Zach was playing next to Giannis, okay, that is a championship level team, okay? I think that's a very, very high, like a high ceiling type team. You still have to fill out the rest of the roster, but in my opinion, that's a perfect team for Zach. Can he go and be the third option? Yes, he can, because he's a damn good shooter and can play off ball. But I do think that you will see that if LaVine is a second option in Denver, he will be in the best position possible. Not only will he be the second option there and be getting a ton of open looks from Jokic, he will also have not just Jokic to set him up, but also Jamal Murray to set him up if the Denver Nuggets decided to trade Porter Jr. instead of Jamal Murray. Okay. I think it's a perfect match, honestly. The Denver Nuggets are dead last in 3-point attempts per game. Zach takes about 8 per game on extremely high efficiency. It makes a lot of sense in my opinion. The Nuggets also are one of the worst teams in the world right now when Jokic is off the court. I'm not saying that Zach fixes all your issues with Jokic off the court, but I do think that he provides a little bit more stability when Jokic is off the court. Maybe Zach can carry you for like a 4-minute stretch when Jokic is off the court. Because God knows, we all know this, that Michael Porter Jr. right now is not carrying you when Jokic is off the court. He is not looking great when Jokic is off the court. Murray also just doesn't look like the same player. So I think adding Zach to that team for him to be in the second unit, which is not going to be out there for very long because Jokic plays so many minutes. I think it's a good idea. I think it will be worth it. Do I think that the Denver Nuggets might need to still make some moves after the LaVine move? Maybe to like contend with the Thunder and the Celtics and the Mavericks, but and others. But I think it's a correct decision in terms of trying to be a more winning team this year. Hence, you just lost to the Portland Trailblazers. Man, I wonder if we could go out and get a 22-point per game scorer on high efficiency that shoots 8 threes a game over 40% and is shooting over 55% or 50% from the field overall. Man, I wonder if there's a guy out there that just really could just, come in and just slide right in and be the starting shooting guard. Because, man, we have not had a starting shooting guard pretty much the entire damn season. Wonder if there's a guy like that. So, I think it's honestly it's a really good match. Now, let's talk about the salary, okay? Because this is what I think has been the most misinformation on both Twitter and also in the videos made that I've been kind of paying attention to. Overall, sorry, I'm not going to be pulling up Twitter on stream because holy crap, that is a very risky decision. But I'm going to go to my own profile because there was a tweet today that was very important, and that tweet was made by none other than Bobby Marks. Okay, and I do think that this is something that we need to look at now. Unfortunately, as I'm looking at this tweet was deleted. Great, awesome. Hold on. Let me go back here. I wonder if Bobby deleted it now that today's over because obviously Zach was not traded today. But I don't know why he deleted it. That doesn't make me feel great. Okay, yeah. I don't know why Bobby deleted it. But basically it broke down the trade kicker because the biggest thing that's going on right now across Bulls Nation is like, what is the trade kicker when it comes to Zach? Okay. I've seen a lot of tweets from a lot of Bulls content creators and from just Bulls fans. Okay. That was, they're trying to like figure out Zach's trade kicker. And it was genuinely driving me insane when I was seeing people say that Zach's overall contract is going to rise from $250 million to $250 million, and then he's going to go from $43 million made this year to then $55 million made this year. And so it's going to be so hard for the Bulls to actually make this deal happen. The Denver Nuggets are not going to take on this contract. The Bulls are going to suddenly have to go into the luxury tax because the Bulls will have to pay the trade kicker. And I'm just like, okay, y'all need to chill, please. Okay. That's not the case. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and break this down for you. All right. I'm going to break this down for you when it comes to the Zach LaVine trade kicker scenario. And we're going to go off of today's numbers. Okay. We're going off of specifically today's numbers that Bobby Marks did tweet out. I think he got rid of it just because today's over. Right. So these numbers change day to day. Okay. But we're going to go off of what the numbers were today from Bobby Marks. Okay. So first things first, Zach LaVine has a trade kicker. Okay. What does that mean? All right. I know a lot of people are kind of new to this, but a trade kicker means that if Zach LaVine is traded, he gets a 15% increase to his guaranteed salary, okay, over the years guaranteed in his contract. So this money, though, is calculated based on how much he is currently still owed, okay? So Zach obviously right now is in the second year of a wait, is this the second year? I forget. No, this is the third year, excuse me, of his max contract, okay? So LaVine has already gone through 2 years of his max contract. He is no longer owed money from those previous 2 years, okay? Because he's already got his money from the Bulls. However, he is still owed money from the rest of this season and then next season, okay? The rest of this season and next season are the only 2 years right now for Zach's contract, right, that are still guaranteed to be owed to him, okay? He is 100% guaranteed that he will be getting paid $43 million this year, or whatever the amount is for the rest of this year, and then he'll be getting about $46 million next year, okay? When it comes to the trade kicker scenario, okay, it does not include the non-guaranteed years. And if you're wondering, does a player option fall under a guaranteed year or a non-guaranteed year? It falls under a non-guaranteed year. Therefore, when you calculate LaVine's trade kicker, which is 15% of the money that is still guaranteed to be owed to him, it does not include this $48 million or $49 million, if you want to call it, right here, okay? So, in essence, this number right here is not part of this equation, okay? For some reason, people have gotten this very confused, but it is not part of this equation, all right? Now, the other part that I don't understand why people have gotten this confused with, they've, for some reason, have decided to take $215 million, which is Zach's entire contract, and then do 15% of that, and then add basically like $10 million every single year to Zach's contract to get him up to like $250 million, okay? First and foremost, if that were the case, if that is the case, Zach would become one of the highest paid players in like the history of the NBA. That is not the case. But also the other thing to factor in is this. There is a cap of how much a player can make in a single season, okay? And a lot of it is based off of years of experience. LaVine is a 10-year vet now, so the most amount of money that Zach LaVine can make in a single season is 35% of the cap, okay? As you can see right now, LaVine is making $30.6 million. 30.6% of the salary cap this year, okay? So if LaVine were to have a significantly high trade kicker, okay, let's just say, for example, he was traded right when he signed the contract, this trade kicker would be obviously a lot more because he still owed a lot more money, but the most that he would be able to get would just increase his salary to 35% of the salary cap, okay? Now that Zach is a 10-year vet, he is allowed to get that. However, okay, when Zach signed this contract, okay, if you're wondering about this, when LaVine signed this max contract, Zach LaVine was not a 10-year vet. He was a 8-year vet, okay? Therefore, he was not able to get 35% of the cap. He was only able to get 30% of the cap. So if LaVine was traded in the middle of this season, in the middle of his first season, there would be no trade kicker that would be allowed to be given to him because he is already making the most amount of money that he could make in this specific season, okay? Based on the years that he has played in the NBA and his current status of his contract, he would not be able to get an increase to his salary if he was traded this year, okay? Because he was not a 10-year vet at this time. The most amount of money he can make is 30% of the cap. He was already making that because he is on a max contract, okay? So, want to make this clear. Now, though, because he is a 10-year vet, he is eligible to increase his salary up to 35% of the salary cap. Is currently sitting at 30.61, hence the $43 million that we see today, okay? Are you guys with me so far? Okay. I know this is a lot, but this is all important, okay? Any questions right now in terms of what I've been talking about? Because I think this is pretty big at the end of the day. Gonna wait a few seconds, but please ask questions at any time. Don't be afraid to interrupt me. I'm willing to answer all questions here, okay? All right. So now that that's been laid out, okay, let's do the math for LaVine's trade kicker. What would LaVine's trade kicker be if he was traded today, or in this case, if you're on the East Coast, it'd be yesterday, or actually, or no, still today. So if LaVine was traded today, okay, that means Zach LaVine would be, the remaining guaranteed salary on Zach's contract is $74 million. Okay, this was calculated by Bobby Marks. As you can see here, he's deleted this. I don't know why, but I think obviously the biggest thing is that, well, tomorrow though, LaVine is owed less money. So just to make that clear, but if Zach LaVine was traded today, he is guaranteed still $74 million guaranteed. Okay, again, this does not include this player option year. This is not including this year because this is not a guaranteed year. Okay, so if you take the $74 million LaVine is still owed, okay, and you times that by 50 or 0.15 or get 15% of 74 million, okay, you would end up with $11.2 million. Okay, so that would be Zach LaVine's total bonus, trade bonus or trade kicker from being traded today would be $11.2 million. Okay, now this trade bonus then is spread out between the remaining guaranteed years of that player's contract. So for Zach, for example, if he was traded today and got that $11.2 million bonus, then you would divide that number by 2 because there are only 2 years left guaranteed on his contract. Again, we do not include this player option year. There are only 2 years left guaranteed on this contract, right? And so each year, LaVine would get a $5.6 million increase to his salary for each season, okay? So again, $74 million is left remaining for what Zach is owed, okay? 15% of 74 million is 11.2 million. You divide that by 2 because you spread it over the 2 years remaining of Zach's contract that are guaranteed, and you get $5.6 million for each year. So in this case, LaVine's contract is going to increase from $43 million to $48.6 million. Okay, we're just going to say it's $43 million flat. Okay, now if you're wondering, okay, this number for Zach actually continues to decline as each day passes, because as each day passes, he is owed less money because he is getting the payout, right? So come a week from now, maybe he's not owed $74 million. Maybe he's only owed $73 million or $72 million, okay? Whatever the number is, as each day passes, his trade bonus continues to decline. Therefore, his salary that would be going to whichever team would potentially trade for him, okay, would also decline. So instead of it being $48.6 million, which would have been the highest it would have been, which is today, okay, maybe come, in 3 weeks from now, if he does get traded, then it's only down to $47 million, okay? So he only gets a $4 million increase. So keep this in mind. It does not suddenly, put a big strenuous strain on, or, big strain on, oh, can the Bulls actually trade Zach due to all these financial constraints? That is not how this works, okay? I'm giving you right now the exact numbers of what this would do, okay? So, as we talked about, LaVine's salary for this season would increase from $43 million, again, if he was traded today, would increase from $43 million to $48.6 million, okay? Now, what is the outgoing salary for the Bulls if, let's say, for example, the Bulls decided to trade Zach LaVine to the Denver Nuggets, okay? So I'm going to show you this via Spot Track just to kind of give a better visual. But if this were the trade, okay, that is going to be drawn up, which is Zach LaVine goes to the Denver Nuggets, and this would have been, if this would have happened today, okay, we're going off numbers if the trade happened today, which again, it did not. But these would be the numbers. So the Bulls would be receiving Michael Porter Jr. in return. As you can see in this right here, this 1-for-1 trade fails. That's not that shocking. It's very, very, that's very, very simple. This is not shocking whatsoever, okay? But as you can see here, the outgoing cap for the Chicago Bulls, this is the Bulls here, the outgoing cap will be $43 million, okay? Now, I want this to be clear. That number stays the same even with LaVine's trade bonus, okay? So if LaVine were to be traded today to the Denver Nuggets, his new salary would be $48.6 million, but that new salary would only matter for the Denver Nuggets, okay? For the Bulls, though, when they're trading out Zach LaVine, the outgoing salary in that sort of deal would only still be his flat rate that we saw before, which is the $43 million, okay? This does not change, okay? So if the Bulls were to send out Zach, they're sending out only $43 million, even though his salary would increase to $48.6 million, okay? However, though, for the Denver Nuggets in this scenario, they would actually be taking back $48.6 million, okay? There's not like, oh, we're only taking back $43 million because that's what Zach's currently owed. They have to factor in the trade bonus into the trade now. So in this case, instead of them only receiving $43 million for Zach, they would have to take back $48.6 million for Zach, which that right there is a big factor because that's hard to salary match, right? Because now suddenly for the Bulls, right, they're only sending out $43 million, but the Denver Nuggets are receiving $48.6 million for Zach. That's a pretty significant margin to try to figure out how can we match up salaries, right? So that is the financial constraints on this sort of thing. It's not like, oh, it's deal breaking, but it would put more financial constraints on this sort of trade. Okay. If you're wondering about trade rules, okay, I want to pull this up just so we can look at this together. But when it comes to simultaneous trade exceptions and how we can all figure out, oh, what are the trade rules? If you're a non-apron team, which the Bulls are, you can take back 125% of outgoing salary. So in this case, it'd be Zach LaVine's $43 million going out. Okay. You can take back 125% of $43 million. Okay. Plus $250K. So I don't know the exact number on that, but just for reference, though, for calculator, this is basically it. So we would just take 43, times this by, oh, whoops, I already messed up. Times this by 1.25, okay? And then you would basically be adding 250K, so it would be $54 million, okay? That's the most amount that the Bulls can take back with LaVine's $43 million going out, okay? For the Denver Nuggets, though, because they're an apron team, it's a different story. This is where some of the financial constraints start to come into play. It's a little bit problematic. Did I think I accidentally closed it out. Hold on 1 second. I did not mean to do that. I do apologize. So here again, here's the rule. But then if you go down to where actually I don't know exactly where it is, but there's a difference between the apron teams, which the Nuggets are in the first apron. I've always, for some reason, thought the Nuggets were in the second apron. I don't know why that was in my head. But for some reason, that was just in my head. The Nuggets were in the second apron, which means that they would not be able to take Zach no matter what. But they're in the first apron, so that helps a lot. Because, dear Lord, that would have been problematic for the Nuggets if they're in the second apron. I always forget how exactly it works, but for the Nuggets, I don't know why this doesn't show, but if I'm remembering correctly, hold on, I'm gonna quickly bring up a tweet here. But for the Nuggets, they can only take back 110% of outgoing salary, okay? And this is where the problems come into play, right? Because, for example, in this sort of deal, right, where, let's say, for example, for the Nuggets, they send out also Zeke Naji, which is what they need to do. Their outgoing salary is $44 million. So you would think, oh, they're fine, right? But it does get a little bit tougher if the Bulls are also trying to trade Torrey Craig alongside Zach. It would just make things a little bit tougher at the end of the day. But hold on, let me pull up this tweet because I want to make sure I get the exact rule down for you guys. But this is where things become a little bit tougher. Because the Nuggets in this sort of scenario are not sending out as much money, right? They're actually sending out less money than the Bulls because Zach's increase in his salary because of the trade kicker, it actually does affect a lot of things. So I know it's like, oh, hey, this works, but hold on a second. So here are the rules. Just want to bring this back up just to make sure that we all know this. Because if you're over the first apron, actually, no, it's actually 100%. Oh, okay. So this is why it's even harder. Okay. So if you're over the first apron, which the Nuggets are, then you cannot actually match a salary unless you are actually at 100% of that salary or lower. Okay. You cannot do like 110% salary exception. Okay. So it actually that's very difficult for the Nuggets. So basically, no matter what, the amount of money that the Nuggets send out, that is the amount of money that they can only take back. They cannot take back more money in this sort of scenario. Okay. So if you're wondering what this means, okay, if you're wondering like, well, what does this mean overall of like when Zach is going to get traded? in my head, this means that Zach will get traded probably later down the road. It's not going to happen soon, because if LaVine is traded later, then his trade bonus would be smaller, because as each day passes, his guaranteed money, it becomes less and less and less. Therefore, his trade bonus would also become less and less and less, which means then his new salary, if he's traded to the Nuggets, would also be significantly less and less. So ideally then, if you're the Nuggets, you're probably going to wait until around January at the earliest to try to go and get Zach if you do decide to go trade for him. But also, though, this means that, hey, if you're the Bulls, you're probably not going to be able to trade Zach anytime soon because of this sort of thing that's happening. So just so if you're aware, because spot check's not perfect here, but the Denver Nuggets, okay, I know it's like, oh, hey, so we're outgoing 44, right, and we're only going to bring back 43 million, right, because of Zach. Well, in essence, though, you need to open up enough space to bring back 48.6 million. So right now, okay, if this trade were to happen, this trade would actually not work. Okay, the Nuggets would have to probably add in Dario Saric in this sort of deal, which in this case, if you're wondering about this sort of money, I do believe this works. And even if, let's say, the Bulls added Torrey Craig, I think this would also work. I would just have to double check everything that I did. Let's just see here. So yeah. So right now in this case, so the Denver Nuggets would be sending out 49 million. Okay. They would be acquiring 45 million. So this would work. Okay. And the Bulls in this sort of scenario would be adding 4 million. This would keep the Bulls under the luxury tax. Okay. Because the Bulls still have about $5 million between them and the luxury tax. So this would keep them still under the luxury tax. And they would get Michael Porter Jr. back. They would get Zeke Naji, who I don't have any faith in. And Sarge has been kind of a miss for the Nuggets this year. So I just kind of took him on just to help match the salary. Because let's just be honest, they're not trading Russell Westbrook. He's actually been pretty good for them this year. And he's also on a minimum. So his salary would not count as much. They're probably also not going to be trading you Christian Brown. And so the next guy would be Daron Holmes, and I don't know if that actually gets you to that number that you need to get to. But if, let's say, though, you wait for LaVine's trade bonus to go lower, then you can maybe only have to send out $47 million. So then maybe you're able to add in like Daron Holmes or Julian Strawther to be able to match the salary, okay? So I just want to make this clear that this is what's going on with Zach, okay? If you see for whatever reason that all of a sudden Zach's contract's going to balloon to $55 million this year, that person is just straight up lying or they are misinformed, okay? His overall contract also does not just increase to $250 million. It's going to increase a little bit, but it's not going to increase to 250, okay? It will be higher than 215, but it's not going to be increased to 250, okay? But also, just to make this clear, I want to make this the biggest thing right now, because for whatever reason, Bulls fans have been talking about this, and they're very confused. If LaVine is traded and the trade kicker does happen, which most likely it will, okay, that trade kicker is paid for by the Chicago Bulls, okay? So they would have to pay, let's just say if, for example, if LaVine is traded today, they would have to pay Zach's $11.2 million, or if you want to make it simpler, $5.6 million each of the next 2 seasons, okay? That is paid for by the Chicago Bulls. However, that does not, I repeat, it does not count against the Bulls salary cap, okay? Because a lot of people were freaking out about what Bobby Marks posted today, because they're like, oh God, does that mean that if LaVine is traded and we get back a similar amount of salary, because the Chicago Bulls only have about, some, like, let's just, I don't know the exact, oh, here it is. So they only have about $4.5 million between them and the luxury tax. Is that a problem? Where suddenly now, because we have to pay LaVine an extra $5.6 million, does that suddenly put us in the luxury tax bracket? The answer is no. It does not count against us anymore. The new salary, the $48.6 million, counts against the Denver Nuggets luxury tax. However, we have to pay the extra $5.6 million each year in this sort of scenario to Zach. Okay? Just want to make that clear, okay? Zach's entire contract still comes off the books, and we would obviously be receiving back player, contracts that we have to work with. But LaVine's trade bonus or trade kicker does not suddenly add like a dead cap onto our salary cap and put us into luxury tax, or it would count against the luxury tax. Okay, it does not do that. Okay, want to make that very, very clear for everybody right now that it does not add money to the Bulls salary cap books if LaVine gets this trade bonus. Okay, the Bulls have to pay it, but it does not account against the salary cap. That is humongous, just to keep in mind, and I hope people understand that. Am I making anybody confused? No questions so far. So I think we're good. All right, give me a thumbs up emoji if I can move on to the next part that I want to talk about. Okay, which is where I think most of you guys will be looking to talk about in this next part. Because I think this is what a lot of you are interested in hearing. All right, thank you, Darius. It is not Vucevic. I want to talk about now, though, because if you aren't aware, well, I'm pretty sure all of us are, but if this sort of scenario does play out, right, the Bulls would have to either take back Murray or Michael Porter Jr., okay? It's the only way possible. If you're wondering, this is not, like, you can't trade Aaron Gordon. He isn't tradable till April, which you're past trade deadline. Murray also, well, actually, I just realized this, so never mind. Murray's also trade restricted. So yeah, it has to include Michael Porter Jr. If you're a Bulls fan right now, do you want Michael Porter Jr. on this roster? Because in my head, at least, I don't personally want Michael Porter Jr. here. Vucevic, can you talk about the Miami rumor? I can talk about that for sure. I'll go over it. At some point, since the rumor came out, they might want him. I'll go over it. I'll just say that it's also pretty financially rough. Vucevic gets traded to Miami over Golden State. Really? Why is that? Because I actually think Golden State has the better assets right now, if I'm being honest. But why would you prefer Miami over Golden State? You just hate the Warriors? I don't mind it if that's your actual answer. That you just don't like the Warriors. Are we back? Sorry, hold on. My internet just completely died for a second. That was weird. Okay, I think we're back. Would you... Sorry, so my question was, would you take back Michael Porter Jr., or would you be looking to actually ship him off to somewhere else and try to get other assets for Michael Porter Jr. instead? Because I think if a lot of people right now, if it's like, okay, would I take Michael Porter Jr. or Zach LaVine right now? I think for especially the tanking people, they would obviously just choose MPJ because Zach's just been better. But in my head, at least, I'm like, hey, what about this scenario, though, where instead of you getting back Michael Porter Jr., well, maybe we can trade him for, like, future assets, where you can actually even make your team even worse, and try to get some picks out of it. So I'm just wondering, because in my opinion, at least, I don't think Michael Porter Jr. should be on this next Bulls roster. Like the next, like, you know, overall young team roster, like, you know, whenever Buzelis and whoever else will be on the team that, like, kind of ascends to where the Bulls should be winning next. Like, I don't really see Michael Porter Jr. Being on this roster. But it would be interesting just to kind of see what he would do here. He is only 26, so it's not like he's some old guy. But it is kind of interesting, though, like, is he kind of worth keeping around? He has some trouble defensively. He's a very good shooter, obviously. We haven't seen much of his, you know, shot creating abilities in Denver because Jokic is there. But just wondering at the end of the day. I don't know if he want to add players with that Jimmy knows. It seemed like they want to give their pick. I'm also interested to see. They can take picks over MPJ. Yeah. Okay. Trade MPJ later on the season sounds good. The issue with that is that it would be hard to trade Michael Porter Jr. I don't know the exact rules, but when a player is traded, then they have a limit and like there's like a new restriction on them for when they can then be traded again. So assuming that this trade would happen, like in January, you would not be able to trade Michael Porter Jr. again unless he's like the only player being traded in the trade. Or something like that. It's a weird rule. I'll have to double check it. Trade MPG later on season 7. Yeah, I think somewhere you can only flip a player if they were initially traded the first day. Is that true? It's something like that. I don't exactly remember what the trade rules is. Hold on, let me look it up. NBA recently traded. Spot Track also has this sort of. Nope, never mind. Hold on. Sorry, hold on. I know that it hurts everyone's eyes. Hold on. So if you ever want to know like rule like in-depth like rule breakdowns, like I always go to Hoops Rumors. They do a pretty decent job with it overall. So if you aren't aware, recently signed draft picks can't get traded. Players that just recently signed a free agent contract cannot also get traded. Players that just signed extensions also are not able to get traded. Okay. Here's the rule. So yeah. So when a team trades for a player via salary matching or using an exception, okay, so if you're wondering, so if let's say the Bulls did get Michael Porter Jr., they would be using the salary matching exception to get Michael Porter Jr. They cannot aggregate that player in another trade for 2 months, okay? So that means, though, what that means basically is that the Bulls would not be able to then trade Michael Porter Jr. If they for the next 2 months and in a trade that would combine him with another player, right? So, for example, if the Bulls got MPJ, they would not then be able to trade Michael Porter Jr. and let's just say Chris Duarte later for the next 2 months. Like, you can't combine those two guys together and trade them. You would be able to trade just one of Michael Porter Jr., like just himself alone, right? You'd be able to trade him out, but you aren't able to add any other players to the trade if you're the Bulls. Okay, so that is the restriction. So that's something just to keep in mind. If someone get a 2025 pick for MJ, I would take it immediately. I would also probably take it immediately. Yeah. 2 months is all right if they make the trade now, then, right? I think so, but just like I said though, I don't think this trade's gonna happen now. I think they're gonna wait because the salary matching will be easier with LaVine's trade kicker if they wait another month. I also didn't mention this, but there is the CBA does allow for players and teams to negotiate the trade kicker. So LaVine doesn't have to take his full trade kicker. Like he can only take part of it, or he can just take none of it, honestly. It's up to him. He gets to decide how much he wants to take. If he just says I want all of it, then he'll get all of it. But if the team tries to negotiate with him and say like, hey, I want to only have like, you know, I'll only take like half of it, then great, awesome. That'll make the salary matching purposes a lot easier. But I'm gonna assume because it's a Rich Paul client, he will not be taking only partial of that trade kicker. He will be taking the entire thing. But though, if you're the teams, right, you can control the trade kicker amount by just waiting, right? Because as each day passes, his trade kicker gets lower, lower, and lower. It's not, you know, a significant lower each day, but it will be lower each day. So he'll get less and less money via the trade kicker each day as each day passes. So again, I personally think that you would go and wait. If you're Denver, you wait until January. If Denver was like under 500 right now, then I would be like, yeah, I gotta go get him now. But yeah, I personally think that if I'm Denver, because I am over 500, I know we just lost to Portland tonight, but because I am over 500, then I will just wait a year or a month, and I'll go get him. Again, this is not guaranteed set in stone. I think personally for Denver, this is an upgrade I know a lot of people say that's not the case. But in my opinion, this is personally an upgrade. This would move Murray to the 3. So, no, sorry, this will move Murray to being the 3rd option. And I think that's probably the best decision. And yeah, I overall think that's fine. For Denver, I think this will give them actually another good shot at getting another title. Okay. Here's a list of. So I just saw your question, Rob. One of the trade kickers what caused previous front office issues, or who maybe had a trade lineup if you lowered it or something before. Maybe, but reminder though, just want to keep this reminder that the most that Zach can make in a single season, right, is right now is only 35%. So like, let's say for example, like last year, if the Bulls were trying to trade him last year, the most that his salary could rise up to would only be 35%. So it's not like suddenly the trade kicker would balloon his salary to like humongous amount. But maybe it's because it would have raised his salary to like, I don't know, around 46 million. Maybe that would have been a problem for some front offices, but I'm not entirely sure. But it is a good thought. But I just want to make sure, like, it's not, I don't want people thinking like, oh my God, like, yeah, no wonder why teams didn't take him. Like, he would be getting paid like 50 something million dollars. Like, that's not the case. There's a cap on how much he would be able to get via a trade kicker, because you're only allowed to get so much money via how much the percentage of the salary cap and how many years you play in the NBA. So yeah, just want to make that clear. The Cat Randall trade any team have kickers. I actually don't know, honestly. Quick look here. Yeah, so Cat did have a trade kicker. Yeah. Oh, so did Randall. Yeah, so both Randall and Cat had trade kickers. Randall received his full 50% bonus as part of the transaction, confirms ESPN. So this bumped the caps, the forced cap hit to this, right? And as you can see, the cap charge for Randall remained unchanged for the player option, right? Towns also had a trade kicker. But as you can see here, Towns already was earning his maximum salary that he could, so it was voided. So therefore, he could not get an increase to his salary, even though he had a trade kicker, right? So just want to make it clear. That's actually a really good thing. This is I'm gonna bookmark this so that people can like look at like other trade scenarios. But this is a really good kind of look at like a summary of like how trade kickers would work. Again, a lot of us I think are like very like new to this, because we haven't seen Bulls like, you know, do trade kickers, or like where it actually came to like a big effect. I don't know if the Bulls have ever traded for a player with a trade kicker. Maybe Otto Porter had it. I don't exactly remember, but oh, I forgot that we can't go back in time because Spot Track has now made things behind a paywall. Yeah, maybe Otto Porter Jr. actually had a trade kicker to his contract. I'm not entirely sure, but I don't remember when the last time the Bulls ever traded for a guy with a trade kicker, or ever traded a guy with a trade kicker. So yeah, I understand that we're all just kind of new to this, but that's why I'm also here, so that I can explain things. Okay, so let's talk about now, because we have gone over the Zach LaVine stuff. So if there's any more Zach LaVine questions, or you know, Zach LaVine trade related questions, let me know. I'm more than willing to answer. Anything when it comes to salary matching purposes, anything like that, let me know. I'm here to answer them. Now we want to talk about this though, because the Bulls and the Heat have had recent discussions apparently about stuff. Damn, that Cat trade looking even worse of a risk to have taken. Not saying it's awful or whatever, but yeah, New York only, if only they had locked up Hartenstein. Wait, what do you mean, Charles? So Cat did not get. So Cat had a trade kicker, but like I just said though, his trade kicker was voided. because he's already making the max contract. So it's not like New York suddenly had to add more salary to Cat, right? Or had to take on more salary from Cat's contract, or against the salary cap. Like, they didn't add any more money. His trade kicker was voided because he's already earning the max, so he cannot add more money. This is the reason why I'm saying, though, like, when it comes to Zach, right? Like, for the people thinking that was Zach, like, if the trade kicker was if they tried to trade him last year and they're worried about the trade kicker, the most amount of money he can earn is only 35% of the cap. It's not like his salary would just balloon to like 55 million. Okay, it's not possible. He can only earn 35% of the cap. Okay, so again, 35% of the cap this year is like what, 40, is like 49, 50 million, right? So, but right now though, that's not he wouldn't even get there. He would get to like 34%. But it just shows you, like, it's, if even let's say he was able to like get up to that 35%, it would stop at 35%. Like, it's not going to suddenly be like, oh, he goes past it now. Like, no, it stops it at 35%. So yeah, with Cat, for example, Cat's a great example because he already was making the max. Let's just go to New York here. So for Cat, Cat's, as you can see here, he's already making 35% of the salary cap. Hence, then he didn't get anything added to his salary cap via the trade kicker. If Zach was, if Cat was traded next season, though, right? By the way, once a player is traded, they no longer have the trade kicker. So if Cat's traded again, he does not suddenly get a trade kicker again. But let's say Cat was traded for the Minnesota Timberwolves next year, right? He would then increase his salary up to then 35% of the cap. Okay, it would just be a small increase, but it would increase just a little bit, right? Assuming that this is the correct number for the salary cap next year, which we don't know, right? We don't know if that's actually going to be the case or not. I just thought Cat isn't that amazing. I also, I'm not the biggest fan of Cat, but yeah, I get it. Thanks for checking out. I get trade info. Yeah, this is important. Yeah, so thank you, Rob, by the way, for that. This is actually extremely helpful. This sort of stuff, like this really helps explain things to people. Okay, once again though, I do want to go to this now because this is going to be an important thing, because I know some of you just talked about how the hell does this Vooch trade work. So the Miami Heat are a first apron team, so just like we talked with the Denver Nuggets, the Miami Heat cannot take back more money than what they send out. So whatever money that the Miami Heat send out, that is the amount of money that they can only take back. They cannot take even a dollar more back in this sort of scenario, okay? So for example, if you're thinking just a straight Nikola Vucevic for Duncan Robinson swap, this does not work, okay? You would be 600K short because the Miami Heat cannot take more back than what they give out. So it'd be pretty problematic for them at the end of the day. Now, when it comes to this sort of stuff, this is where I don't, like, for the picks for Miami, I don't feel too great because, I mean, so I don't exactly. So I guess, so this is a Los Angeles Lakers pick that would just go to Chicago, and then I guess they would also get San Antonio's pick. Just saying, you're not going to get a first round pick in a Vooch trade. It's just not going to happen. But how I would be able to match this sort of deal, I guess if you can somehow find a way to give us Jovic, maybe, right? If you're wondering if, like, does Alec Burks do this? Like, yeah, this would work. So, like, you know, Duncan Robinson and Alec Burks would do it. I seriously doubt, though, that they'd be willing to do that. So I don't think that would be the case. But I don't know what the trade would be, honestly, for Miami. The talk about recently has been Terry Rozier, right? So love we can steal Khalil Ware from Miami in a trade for Vooch. Yeah, so I've also heard Bulls fans talk about this. I don't know about this. I don't think that suddenly Khalil Ware is gonna be just available for Vooch. And then again, though, it's not like it's gonna be like a 1-for-1 swap, right? It's gonna be you have to add salary into it. So I don't know what that would be. Now I am aware. So like Terry Rozier for them hasn't exactly had like the best year. So like maybe this is it, right? So I don't know who their starting point guard would be. I guess they will just run Hero. But that maybe is it. So like you would do you do Terry Rozier to Chicago, and then we wouldn't even need Alec Burks at this point. So this would be the trade. And then if you wanted Khalil Ware, that if you're the Bulls, what else could I give them, right? They're not going to want Duarte. They would honestly probably want Io. I don't even know if this works. This would work. I don't know. Maybe this is it. I personally would not do this trade just because it's giving up Io, and I don't think that's worth it. Because if I'm giving up Io, I would want more than this in return. In terms of what I think is for what is with Io and Vooch, right? Because in my personal opinion, like, let's just take Io out of this equation, and let's take Khalil Ware out of this equation, right? For what I expect for Vooch, just knowing that with Terry Rozier, like, I'll also probably be able to flip Terry Rozier for something. This is probably kind of it. Maybe you can sneak another like second round pick out of Miami. So like, I don't know, we'll take the 2031 pick or whatever. But like, I think this is honestly it. This would put the Bulls in luxury tax though. So then the Bulls would be looking to trade Terry Rozier immediately. So 3-team swap. I don't know. But like, I don't really expect more than this for Vooch right now. I'm aware that he has 2 years left on his deal, but I just really don't. I just really don't think it's gonna work out like this. So, Duncan Robinson, Khalil Ware for Vooch works money wise. Pretty sure. Are we sure about that? I don't know if that actually works, but let me just see. It does work. Okay. Wow. All right. This like, what is it for the Bulls? Because that's the question. Okay. Yeah. So this actually works by just like by a million. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't know exactly. I don't know how Robinson's doing this year, but what are we looking at here for Duncan Robinson? Okay. Sure. And then I'll just get rid of all the draft picks then. I mean, if I'm the Bulls, I'm doing this, which means then probably if you're Miami, you're not doing this. But I do this personally. I would gladly take Khalil Ware for Nikola Vucevic. But I don't think Miami does this, honestly. I think that they'll be able to find someone else to trade with. Is Vooch even a difference maker to make a team a contender? I think that's honestly a good question, right? Because Vooch is not going to go to Miami and be the second option, right? Or not the first option. He's going to go there and be like the fourth option, okay? Because you have Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero, and Bam Adebayo, right? Now I know Bam has had kind of a weird year, so at most, right? At most, Vooch is the third option, right? And so for a third option, he would have to seriously hit his 3-point shots, which he's doing this year, but then he'd have to also bring a lot more defensively, which we know he won't. Which is the reason why I've been saying that I don't know about teams that are willing to trade for Vooch, right? Or what are they even willing to give up? If I'm the Bulls, if just a team is willing just to take him, I'm just getting rid of him, honestly. I know he's having a good year, but like, if I could get 2 seconds for him or something and just like take a major salary filler, I'll just take it. Because I don't really want to deal with it, because I don't think I'm going to get much more. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll eat my words if I'm wrong. Anyone want a defensive hole in the paint that isn't Cat? Right. I mean, like, this is the problem with Vooch. Like, I don't think he's, that Cat, Vooch, and Kobe. That's honestly a thought. I mean, I won't lie. I'm more than willing to trade Kobe right now. But then my thing with that though is like I would really want to make sure I get good value in return. So like, I'll take Duncan Robinson off. So then like I'll get Terry Rozier, instead, which this still doesn't work, right? So what do we need? So the Heat are acquiring too much money still. So yeah. Sure, we'll take Jovic because I think that's actually like the perfect number. Yeah. So this maybe right. We'll definitely get a draft pick out of this. So like we'll get I don't know. We'll take let's just say this would be, actually no, I don't think that's possible. Because lottery protected, then you can't trade this one. Lottery protected, you can't trade this one. So I guess it would be like this. So you know what? Honestly, what I'll do instead, I'll just say pick swap for now. And then I'll take this second. Then maybe, right? Maybe this is it. I mean, we're getting Kelal Ware, Jovic, right? We'll then be shipping Terry Rozier somewhere else. And we'll get the right to pick swap. And then also a second round pick as well in 2026. Sure. Does Miami do it? Probably not, but I'll take this personally. I'll personally take this package. Vooch and Craig seem like a good package. I also think Vooch and Craig might. Thank you for that. I don't know. Hello? Okay, I know you guys can hear me right now, but for some reason, my OBS is just switching my mic to default just randomly suddenly, and I don't know why. And so like it's not picking up my, this is my Snowball, which is my main mic, and then even when I switched it off to my Turtle Beach headset, it just suddenly yeah, this is my headset mic right now, so it's gonna sounds weird. But for some reason also it's not picking up my Snowball. It's like suddenly it's not recognizing it as a mic for some reason. What the heck? Oh, wait. Okay, hey, we're back. Okay. I don't know what happened there. That was so odd. Okay, I'm so sorry. Thank you for saying that in chat. Thank you so much for telling me. Yeah, thank you so much. Please let me know if there's any audio issues at any time. I do apologize about that. I was responding to you, Delbert. I don't know if Vooch last year, in my opinion, was not a top 10 center. So I'm just gonna put that out there because I think teams are just scared that he'll regress back to that. Maybe not as bad as last year, but he like might not shoot as good as he is shooting right now because obviously the Bulls are playing in like a high-paced system. So I don't know, just pointing that out there. Kobe selling low at the moment with how much he has been playing, with how he's been playing. Surely not that he has big value. I understand that, Charles, but the problem is with Kobe is that because he's on a 3-year deal and this is the second year of his deal, his value will only be as high as it is today. It will not get any higher. Even if Kobe goes on to have a good season, right? Or he plays, let's say we keep him in the next year and he's having a good year next year, we're not going to get as much value for him anymore because he's on the last year of his contract then, right? So his value right now is the highest it will ever be. That's the issue with Kobe. So like that's the reason why I'm kind of like I'm just ready just to go ahead and just trade Kobe. So yeah. Is also adding a top to minus maybe Lonzo or Vuce Craig. I'll take that. Yeah. Okay. Thank you again for the whole. I don't know why my computer just did that. Sorry about the web, or it's not web. Sorry, it's my Turtle Beach mic. I know it doesn't sound very good, and I don't have the filter set up for it, so it sounds like crap. So thank you. 9 CPL minute. Man, the audio USB device thing popped up, but the comments kind of blocked out. Oh, so that I don't know, the USB pop up that you keep seeing, which I'll turn my notifications off, by the way. But actually, hold on. Sorry. Let me just I'm gonna hide screen for a second. But that notification for the USB like device not recognized, that's always for my SSD, my external SSD. And I don't know why it keeps doing that. And so I guess maybe it just kind of like bugged all the other USBs I have set up. So yeah, sorry about that. I don't know why it did that. Yeah, sorry. I just want to. I have my screen just to make sure I don't leak anything. But I'm fine overall. So sorry. All right, we're back. Yeah. So I don't know. That's just weird stuff. As a patient I am, I imagine trades will happen a lot later because every team family is convinced that they'll get Cam Thomas, Cam Johnson, or DFS. So I think Cam Thomas is going to be harder just because he is injured. And I don't know, if I'm the Nets, honestly, like I think I could be bad with him, so I might just keep him around. Cam Johnson though and DFS are definitely guys that are depth pieces that I think a lot of teams are looking to get. So I agree. I think maybe teams might just hold out and see if they can get those guys, and then if that doesn't work, then go for someone else. But for sure, here I was thinking about that. I have been on the trade Kobe regardless, but I'm maybe a bit anti Kobe for most. I don't necessarily think you're anti-Kobe right now, Charles. I think a lot of people right now are recognizing that Kobe is having a really struggling year. And, like, once again, just for the people out there, because there are people that came in the chat before the season started that said, Kobe White is a better shooter than Zach LaVine. He's a better player than Zach. And I was just like, no, he is not. You're seeing that he is not. I was hoping he would prove me wrong, but he very clearly is not. He also has not taken a step forward. So, yeah, I honestly am thinking that when it comes to Kobe, that he might be a guy that might get traded first. Because he's only making $12 million. A team will gladly take his 3-point shooting. And he's not, like, super small. He is smaller, but he's not, like, super small. So, I wouldn't be shocked, honestly, that if he would be the first one to go, honestly, because yeah, I don't know. I have major doubts about Kobe's ability moving forward, unfortunately. In terms of just being able to step up, like 18 points per game is nice. Like, I'm not saying that's easy, but if you're really gonna try to be the starting point guard, which you're not right now, but if he was gonna be like your starting point guard of the team, like, and you want him like to be like kind of running the show, that's maybe not enough. And then if he's gonna be your shooting guard, I don't know if that's nice. Like that's a decent starting shooting guard. But are there better options? Maybe. He might, honestly, Kobe might honestly be for like the Peyton Pritchard role for the Boston Celtics. Like that honestly might just be Kobe's role moving forward. it took us a while maybe to kind of get here because he had such a great year last year. But from what we've been seeing this year, I think that might be his role, is that he might just be the Peyton Pritchard role for other teams. So I know a lot of people are like hesitant to trade him, but I've been telling people though, like, his value won't get any higher than it is right now. So you have to kind of make a decision of whether you're just going to keep him for now or you're going to look to actually trade him, because you can't wait anymore. Like, it's going to be this trade deadline or not. If you keep him, then you have to just accept that you are not going to get as much value for him if you decide to trade him later down the road. So yeah, I don't know. I'm personally, I can live without Kobe. I'll be fine trading him because I think the Bulls can get something for him. Not saying it's anything spectacular, just saying that they'll get something decent to work with in the future. But yeah. Kobe's didn't finish well last year. Oh, Kobe had a fantastic November through December. And then yeah, he finished overall, like, Kobe had a little bit of a rough stretch towards the end of the year. Like, you can kind of see like maybe the fatigue was kind of getting to him. But he did finish the year overall well. But still though, I'm just, the way that I look at Kobe though, it's just that I don't fully trust him. Because he just kind of goes through these ebbs and flows of like, oh yeah, like I can be a 25 point per game scorer one night on good efficiency, then the next night I'm cold. But recently though, it's like he's just been a 16 point per game scorer on bad efficiency. That's kind of been his recent games, which is not good. And I'm aware that, again, he had he missed a couple games with the ankle, but either way though, or it wasn't knee, I don't remember what it was, but either way, I'm not feeling great about him. So sorry, where's the months? So here are the months. March was good, and then April wasn't as good for some games, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, but like it was like mid-November through February, like he was lights out. It just didn't even last that long into this season, right? Like Kobe got off to a pretty solid start this year. He was kind of like he was like one game bad, one game great, one game bad, one game great, and then suddenly now he has not been good recently. I mean, November, this is pretty solid for November. I mean, it's not like amazing, but it's 19, so it's like basically last year overall on like okay efficiency, right? So that's the start of the year into November, which was better, right? So October into November was good, better efficiency, especially from three. But then December has hit, and he has just not been the same. Again, injury, but who knows? And again, it's hard to look at like per month, because like there's a player that you can be hot to start the month and be absolute ice cold in the second half. So it's not perfect. Slow-mo Jackson. Euros is utilized. Kobe versus Biggs and Pace having a tougher time scoring. He is. Yes, I agree. I want to see Kobe come off the bench and Io/Giddy starting. I'd be interested. I'm always down for any sort of weird lineups just to kind of see. My lineup that I want to see though, honestly, is that before LaVine is traded, I do want to see like it's Io, LaVine, and Buzelis, and maybe it's Pat, maybe it's Phillips as the other forward, and Vooch. I just want to see it. I just want to see what would happen. I personally would just like to just see how that would work out. Then maybe you take Io and put Giddy in there, like just like kind of see what would work. But yeah, weird idea. Yeah, but if the Nets would accept a second or two of Claxton and Vooch, would you do it as a reclamation project on him and Nets get something for a player who is having mental issues there? Wait, what? So we're if Nets would accept a second or two of Claxton and Vooch, would you do it as a reclamation project on him and Nets get something for a player who's having mental? Oh, I see what you're saying. So are you saying that the Bulls also get a second, or are you saying the Bulls trade a second with Vooch to get Claxton? Because if I'm able to get Claxton and a second for Vucevic, I'm gladly accepting that deal. I'm aware that Claxton is like he's having some mental issues right now. But I'll gladly accept that deal, because I can then trade Claxton later if I need to. Here, just really quickly, if we're wondering about Nick Claxton's contract, Claxton is on a pretty cheap deal, overall. So here's his contract. Bulls give up a second. I probably wouldn't do it then. Is my audio out of sync? I do apologize. Yeah, I guess it's out of sync now because of what happened. I do apologize about that. AV Breeze, hold on, just give me 1 second. Okay. Let me know if this is better or worse in terms of audio sync. I do apologize, but thank you for letting me know. I hate when that happens. Question: what to do with Giddey? I don't know, honestly, but we'll have to wait until he gets back just to see what he does. Like, if the season ended today, then I'm basically, if you want to know what I would do with Giddey if the season ended today, I'm basically telling him, hey, go out and restricted free agency, see what you can get. We'll match any offer you get. And so I don't think any team would take a risk on him, honestly. Like, the most he would get is $20 million a year. Like, the most. We're talking like best case scenario, he would get $20 million a year. If I'm personally, though, like, if he goes out and gets if he gets $16 million a year, sure, we'll match it. But right now, I don't know if he's even getting that. I don't know. I don't know if teams would really be willing to pay for a potential that they might see. But I think we're kind of seeing the lack of potential from Giddey. But he's been better off ball, so I don't know how you take that into account. Bush would maybe be too useful for taking Nets with the picks for them, and Bulls aiming to flip Claxton or use with age later on if they think it's salvage him. I don't like him, but curious. I just don't like giving up any assets. Like, the Bulls just don't have any second round picks to trade anyway. So, like, or there's very few, like, unless you're trading the Kings pick. So I guess I'd be a little bit more open to it if it's the Kings pick, but I personally would not be looking to trade a second round pick to trade Vooch. I know you're getting Claxton in return, but I'd have to think about it. I have to think about it. Right now, I'd say no. I don't think that's worth it. Yeah, I agree. Like, we were just, like, in reality, it's like we just analyzed Giddey for the rest of the yeyear. Claxton would work with Giddey and Vooch with Simmons. Too funny enough as the guard pairings. Oh god. Yeah, I agree Vooch is a top 10 center this year, but I'm talking about other years. Like, no. Didn't realize he's making that much, but let's just be real though. Like, this is his biggest year, right? So then the future years, it goes down each year. So I think it's worth it for Claxton. Like, to go out, if you're like a guy that, like, if you really want Claxton, like, I think it's a really good decision. Because his money continues to go down each year. So I wouldn't be too concerned about it at the end of the day. So Cap, I would take Claxton Vooch for a second. That sounds great. Yeah, I'll have to think about it. I'm just hesitant just because the Bulls just don't have any second round picks right now. Like, they have very few second round picks. I don't personally want to be giving up any. Well, sure zero lob passes, but Giddey loves them. Went on OKC. Oh yeah, I realized that Giddey would be the best lob option unless you keep Lonzo around. Really, LaVine injury wasn't too bad for Josh. He seemed to be finding a nice stride over the past couple of games. My only thing though is, like, I'm aware, like, Giddey is saying that he's going to try to play Monday. I do not think he's going to be playing Monday. He's out for Saturday for sure, but I just don't have any faith he'll be playing Monday. Thinking about Team CW issues often also another part of the badass. But yeah, Giddy, in my opinion, needs more time chemistry with Smith and not as a future center, which if not here, now sucks to not be able to evaluate, but he seems like he should be able to. I don't think we'll get our future center this year, honestly. Like unless you're ready for Claxton. But yeah, I don't think we're gonna have a future center. So it's just you have to just kind of base off what you have. Which sure, yeah, like with I think Giddy with Io has been looking better. I think Giddy with Buzelis is something that could still use work, but we haven't seen a lot of minutes of it. So yeah. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know about Zakarski. Like, so again, if you guys are talking about any draft prospects, I am not informed. I do apologize. Yeah. Okay. Last thing we're gonna talk about before I do have to go to bed. I do have work tomorrow. So here's where the Bulls stand now. So I won't lie. My 31 wins does not look great. I think the Bulls are on pace for more. Obviously the big question is if you do trade Zach, or if you're able to trade Zach, if you're able to trade Vooch. But right now, I mean, it's not looking great. I was really hoping the Pistons would win tonight, but that didn't happen. And so honestly, because of the recent injury to Scotty Barnes again, and because the Nets have officially hit like the tank button, the only team really that I see passing the Bulls, as long as LaVine and Vooch are still around, is the 76ers if they can get their crap together, and maybe the Pistons. Again, maybe. I expected the Bulls to go on like a 5-game losing streak because of their upcoming schedule, but funnily enough, they won their first game, and it's the hardest game in TD Garden. So they won the hardest of all the games tonight, which is insane because I was just not expecting that from this Bulls team. So that's one game. Now, the Bulls play the Celtics again on Saturday at the United Center, so I don't have faith in the Bulls to win this one. I know it's funny because it's just like we just won in TD Garden. We should win in the United Center. The Bulls have been worse at home this year for whatever reason. I really don't know why that's been the case, but they've just absolutely sucked. They've just sucked at home. So I'm going to go ahead and say the Bulls lose at home to the Celtics. And the Celtics want revenge because they're not going to lose 2 games in a row like this to the Bulls. So there's that. Now, the funny thing is that Milwaukee might actually be like the hottest team in the league right now because of things with how Giannis and Lillard look. So that also is not an easy game, but maybe the Bulls somehow pull that one out again, but it's also at home, so probably not. And then we have Atlanta and Milwaukee again. So I'll see about Atlanta because the Bulls did win in Atlanta earlier this year, and so maybe that is like a winnable game. But I think we're probably losing the 3 of the next 4. But of course, as I say that, we're gonna somehow win 3. We're gonna win 3 of the next 4. So I'm saying we lose 3 of the next 4, but somehow we're gonna win, and we're gonna end up winning 3 of the next 4. So that'll be great. In terms of keeping their pick, it's not looking great for the Bulls. I mean, if the season ended today and then you would lose the play-in game, right? So then you would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you would have 1, 2, 3. So basically, you would be at number 10 in terms of lottery standings. So if the Bulls stood pat, right? Which means that none of the other 4 teams behind them jumped forward, then they would keep their pick if they end up losing the play. So it's kind of the reason why like I want the Bulls to kind of go down at least 1 more, just so that they'll have better odds. We'll see what happens out here because like I personally think that the Kings and the Spurs will finish with a better record than the Bulls personally will. I know it's funnily enough, but the Kings and the Bulls right now have the same record. DeMar DeRozan went to the Kings, just to remind everybody. DeMar DeRozan went to the Kings, and yet the Bulls right now have the same record as the Sacramento Kings. So yeah, that's Douglas the Hawks, not Bulls. Keeping the Bulls and Hawks and Bulls parity. Yeah, honestly. I've not checked in the Aussie League. I don't know any of the prospects, so I do apologize. Yeah. Hawks are good against any team that is built around a not top, but near top guard is level of team. Overall, for what I've seen, yeah, I think so. But you can argue that they haven't had that much success earlier in Trae Young's career. They made it to the East Conference Finals, then they were pretty bad the next year. So, but overall, I think this team looks a lot better. It's still part of the lottery, right? It could fall out of protection. We could still get in a top 4, even if it's slim, or is that not how it works? So yes. So let's say, for example, if the Bulls, like, let's just say, let's say somehow the Sacramento Kings also fall below the Bulls in terms of record, okay? So let's say the Bulls finish 8th, and yet they lose the playing games, and so they end up with the 11th best odds to get the number 1 overall pick. Yes, the Bulls can then jump into the top 4 to keep their pick, right? So if they end up jumping into the top 4, they would keep it. But if, let's say, no one jumps, like let's say all teams stay the same, then the Bulls would have the 11th pick overall, and then that gets sent to the Spurs, which is not ideal, right? If we're gonna lose the pick, then I want to be in the playoffs, because then at worst your pick is 15th. But because I know this team is probably not going to make the playoffs unless they make it via the play-in tournament, and they keep Zach, I really want this team to try to find a way to get below another team, so that if, let's say, one team jumps up ahead, then they'll still keep their pick. So again, it's all about odds and everything, and just like percentage-wise of like what is the percentage of you keeping your pick versus not keeping your pick, right? For the Bulls, you want to try to make sure that you have the highest percentage to keep your pick, but the best way to do that is just full out tank, which they're not going to do. So yeah, I really hope that the Bulls do everything in their willpower to keep their pick. But I don't know. I mean, again, the best thing you could do is just trade Zach. But that's not going to happen anytime soon. So you have to, I don't know. But the problem is that, yet again, is that coaches and players never tank. They never will tank. Like Zach said at the end of the game tonight, like coaches and players never tank. So, and which they're not supposed to. Like coaches and players are paid to win games. So I hope that they're actually going out and trying to win games. I don't want players to tank. I think that would be stupid. But for the Bulls' sake, like for the front office, they can kind of control this a little bit better. So if they go out and just trade Zach or trade Vooch or whatever, that will help their odds of trying to keep the pick. It's not like, I think right now we're in the territory where it's like it's not gonna be a territory where suddenly like the Bulls can suddenly increase their odds to the point where like they'll never fall out of the top 10. But what the Bulls can do is that they can like be 8th, right? And so if 2 teams jump up, then they're still number 10. It's just that, you know, things happen. So like you could be 8th and then 4 teams jump up behind you, which is it's possible. It's very rare, but it is possible. And you lose your pick still. It happens. But I would just like to try to be as best suited as possible to keep the pick. Because then I honestly think next year, okay, like I'm being real about this. Like let's say the Bulls don't even trade Zach this year. I'm like uber confident they'll be trading him next year, because then it's only 2 years left on Zach's contract. The salary cap should be going up again, so his contract won't be as severe to other teams. His trade bonus will also be significantly lower. And I think just because the years left on his contract, it like teams will be more interested, because they're not like, you know, it's not a 5-year deal. But I honestly think that the 2026 Bulls are going to be really bad. Just from what I've been kind of seeing, with the way that the franchise is kind of heading, like that's a team that I think is going to be really bad. That being said, if they're going to be really bad, then I want to make sure that they keep the pick this year, because it would mean not as much if they are really bad next year, but they didn't get a young player to kind of build with this upcoming draft. So, and also if you're going to be really, really bad, your pick is top 8 protected in 2026. So you might as well just be extremely bad with a protected pick and just keep it, and not ever have to send a first round pick to San Antonio. But that's best case scenario. There is obviously many, many ways where the Bulls will be giving up this pick at some point. And we'll see how that happens. again, I don't think that, like, the way I'm describing this, I don't think this is tanking. Like, I think this is honestly just it's honestly just something that the Bulls are gonna have to look into. But it's not tanking. Like, it's just finding ways to accumulate as much young talent as possible. At the end of the day. Carson luck for the Hawks losing the play and then get 10-A anyway. Honestly. Bulls, I think, have also played more road games than home games this year, and with the ridiculous schedule, they didn't have many days off. Yeah, they have it. Yeah, this is the record right now for the Bulls. So it's 13 games at home. They're 4-9 at home, and they're 9-6 on the road. So 15 games on the road. I don't know how they've done that, but they've done that. So, yeah. Bulls, I think, let's play more. Bulls have beaten the next 3 opponents already once this year. Yeah. And Trey. Oh my god. Always good to see a father spend time with his son. Man. Io against Trae Young is just, for whatever reason, it's actually Trae Young's kryptonite. Funny. I just wish we knew if other teams were really trying to win some games. I mean, hey, the Washington Wizards won tonight, so maybe they're actually trying. What the Golden State Warriors trade would look. Oh, you wonder what the Golden State Warriors trade? Okay, so here's the thing with the Warriors, okay? The only reason why I say that I think the Warriors trade would be better for the Bulls, which I don't know if the Warriors would do it. I have doubts that the Warriors are actually looking at Vooch. I know the rumors are there, but I really have some doubts about it. Basically, here's the trade, okay? Vooch goes to San Antonio, goes to Golden State. I was going to initially put in DeAnthony Melton, but he got traded in the Schroeder deal, so I don't know exactly what it would be now. But it would probably be along the lines of you get Kevon Looney, and then this is rough because they're not in the first apron, so they have more leeway, but they are a tax team. I guess it'd be Kyle Anderson maybe. I know that they haven't had. Oh, this still doesn't even work. Because they're like, oh my god, bro. Forgot because they're so close to the hard cap. Yeah, okay. This wouldn't even work either, right? Yeah. Honestly, DeAnthony Melton getting traded might have just ruined all chances for Vooch to get traded to the Warriors. So let me think of something else here. So, okay, if you're wondering what I'm thinking, so first and foremost, Buddy Hield's not getting traded. He's too valuable for them. I know he goes through hot and cold stretches, but he's too valuable for them. Kuminga's not getting traded either in this sort of deal. There's no reason to do that. They're not trading Podziemski for whatever reason. I don't know why they're not trading him. So, okay, give me this. Does this work? This does not work. So, okay, this actually does work. So we're close enough. And then, I don't know exactly what the exact numbers would be, but then if I can add like a Torrey Craig, that would be great. Doesn't work. See, yeah. Okay. So how would this work? So can I do this instead? So I can add him being the minimum. No, okay, that's annoying. Okay, yeah. This might be cooked. For Bulls and Golden State, like it would require a third team to come in and take salary from the Warriors and then absorb Vooch's salary that way. This might be cooked because now that DeAnthony Melton is gone, because DeAnthony Melton was making $12 million, so the Warriors actually have now gotten closer to the hard cap because of the trade with Schroeder, because they added more money, which makes this even harder. So the only way, honestly, is with Gary Payton II, and I don't think they're willing to do that. I think they like Gary Payton too much, so. This might actually just be cooked. I'll take some more time to look at it, but it might actually be cooked for the Warriors. Vooch to the Warriors trade, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. The only thing is just that if you look at the Warriors' salary capital, it's very good. Okay. So I don't know if if Vooch's somehow value is able to increase where I'm able to then get like a pick swap or something for the Warriors, or like, you know, lottery protected pick or something. I guess that would what we would need, right? Because it wouldn't be pick swap. So like I'll get like a lottery protected first round pick from the Warriors. Like that'd be awesome. Probably not gonna happen, but the Warriors have future picks to trade, so like maybe I can get like a much farther down the line pick from them instead, and then I can like take some of their seconds away because they have a 2025 second. So that would be honestly what I would want to do. I know they just depleted some of their seconds though in the Schroeder trade, so that kind of sucks. So yeah, honestly, the Vooch to the Warriors idea might just be cooked. The D'Anthony Melton getting traded in that deal might just be cooked. Look at this false database of other teams purposely losing to keep their picks with higher odds. If they keep their 2025 pick and have a smaller roster, they either keep that 2060 pick or get lucky and be good. So the back-to-back at homes are often there. That is true about the back-to-backs. Do you still think the Sixers turning around without McCain? No, I have no faith in the Sixers. I pray to God that they can get above the Bulls. Because let's be real, the Sixers have no reason to tank this year. Like the Sixers have no reason to not be a playoff team. So, because their pick is like what is like top 3 protected or whatever, top 4. So they have no reason to tank. Or what is that, pick swap this year? I don't remember what it is for the 76ers, but like they had no reason to tank. So I honestly just think that if you're the Sixers, it's top 6. Yeah, still there's no reason to tank. Because the thing is that you can be the 3rd worst team in the NBA and you can still go. You could lose your pick if you're the 76ers right now, right? And you're not gonna be worse than the Wizards, right? So that's already one team. And you're probably not gonna be worse than, I don't know, Utah. Like, let's just be real. So there's no reason to tank if you're the 76ers. Like I'm just being dead honest. You can have the 3rd best odds of getting the 1st overall pick this in the draft, and yet you can then lose it if you're the 76ers because it falls to 7 because you had 4 teams jump up ahead of you in the draft, so that you could just lose your pick. Like that's the reason why there's no reason to tank. If you're the 76ers. All right, y'all. This is gonna be though my time when I'm gonna call it. It is 1 a.m. and I do it to work tomorrow. So I want to say once again to everybody, thank you for coming to the stream. I know it was a crazy stream because I didn't stream right after the game ended because I was watching Thursday Night Football. So thank you guys so much for letting me be with my guys tonight to be able to watch Thursday Night Football. Thank you for being flexible with me. I do truly appreciate it. And then being here right when I started stream, like I had like 5 people in chat already. You guys were all talking amongst each other. So thank you so much for that. It truly does mean a lot. If you have not already hit the like button on the stream, please do. Helps me out a ton. Please do that. You have no idea how much it helps me. Thank you for just supporting me throughout the year. It's been a lot of fun with you guys. I know trade season is about like coming up soon here, so that'll be fun to talk about with you guys. Next game for the Bulls is Saturday against Boston yet again. Plan is for now is going to be typical post-game stream for now. So game's at 7, game one around 9:30. Stream should be around 9:30 as well. It is the holidays though, so I am aware that if you have prior engagements, go and do that, please. You don't need to be at my stream for this, but if you are available, please hop in. It's been a lot of fun. So thank you guys again. Thank you guys for just watching. It's been great. Even if you're a lurker, you're not chatting, it's been awesome. And thank you for everyone that's been chatting. It's been a great experience with everybody. I appreciate everyone just being respectful, and allowing me to just be me. I hope I'm allowing you guys to be yourself too in chat. So thank you guys a lot for being a great community overall and welcoming people in into the streams. That is going to do it for me though. So I will be seeing you guys on Saturday if things go to plan. And if you're celebrating holidays, I hope you have a happy holidays. All right, y'all. Thank you guys so much. It's been a great stream tonight. I'll see y'all on Saturday. Peace.